Because if you're building a brand or your thing to buy the yacht, you're not gonna build a very big thing. So for me, this thing that we're talking about, I don't want the things that come from being the best entrepreneur in the world. I just want to be the best entrepreneur in the world.
As content creators in this day and age, it is critical that we have the pulse on what's actually happening in this world. When it comes to social media, YouTube, when it comes to scaling your business, how do you actually get out there and make content that people want to hear? In today's episode, we're going to be diving into some exclusive content that we had at our annual event, Grow with Video Live, where Sean Cannell and Gary Vaynerchuk sat down to discuss things like how social media and YouTube are changing, how TikTok is gunning for everyone right now, and why short form video is critical for your content strategy right now. I want to welcome you to the Think Media podcast. My name's Heather Torres, the host of this show here at Think Media, where we want to help you grow your influence using video and then turn that influence into a high impact and a high income online business. If you're new to the podcast family, we want to welcome you and ask you subscribe wherever you're consuming this content, whether it be the audio version or over on our Think Media podcast YouTube channel, where we have exclusive content just for you over there. So make sure you're subscribed, and every single Tuesday you'll get a brand new upload. Plus, on our YouTube channel, we have additional videos and content like our industry expert friends that come and teach, as well as short form and other long form videos that you don't want to miss. So make sure you're subscribed wherever you're consuming this content. Now, today's episode is special to me because this is someone who I have personally been following and seeing his career explode over the last probably decade when it comes to the online space. This is Gary Vaynerchuk. He was one of our keynote speakers at Grow with Video Live 2022. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Gary Vaynerchuk, he's actually a serial entrepreneur and he serves as the chairman of VaynerX. He's the CEO of VaynerMedia and the creator and CEO of VFriends. Gary is a New York Times bestselling author of books like Crush It, The Thank You Economy, Jab, 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 Right Hook, and his latest book, 12 and a Half. From starting his first YouTube channel in the basement of his father's liquor store to creating a massive online following of over 40 million people across all the platforms of YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook, Gary's actually one of the leading experts in online marketing, helping entrepreneurs like you learn how to get attention online. So this is an exclusive conversation between Sean Cannell and Gary Vaynerchuk that they had at Grow with Video Live. And I do need to say a disclaimer. Normally, we are a very family-friendly podcast. But if you know anything about Gary V, you know that he definitely is abrasive in his language. So if you've got little ones around, this would be the episode where you plug in those earbuds. This is not something I personally would play in the car around my kids unless they are age appropriate for the language used in this. I believe that everyone can create content however they'd like, but we just want to make sure that you know that this is family friendly here at Think Media. Now, Gary Vaynerchuk is going to be talking about social media in this context, and he actually did a talk at Growth video where he dove into just the content strategy that you should be having right now. So this is an extension of that talk that he gave that Sean got to really go deeper in some of the topics. I'm excited for you to jump into this. I'll meet you on the other side of the content. Lean in, Think Media fam, and here you go with Gary Vaynerchuk.
Win one championship, you're celebrated. Win twice, they call you a hero. 3 times, they say words like legend and dynasty. 4, 5, 6 titles, they'll say enough is enough. But when you've won it all 7 times, what's left to say? The trophy speaks for itself. Introducing the full lineup of Ram trucks. Ram, 7-time winner of Motor Trend's Truck of the Year.
Work that. Push that. Pull that. Run that. Pump that. Workout.
let's rock and roll. Hey, couple questions from the man, VaynerMedia. You're in touch with what's happening. And one of the things that Susan, the CEO of YouTube, put in the letter at the beginning of the year was that YouTube is talking about integrating NFTs. One of the things that they put out there, who knows if they'll execute. Do you have any thoughts about that? And should creators be waiting for that? I mean, what would your advice be? And do you think they're going to execute that well?
I'm not sure on the last part because there's a million things going to that I have no clue on. I think on the first part, you have to understand, that last thing I ended with, or right before I ended, like, people really, like, again, for the youngsters, this may sound crazy, people really thought the internet was a fad, like, actually, right? And I thought everybody would have a website and every company, and they did. Social media really was weird. Like, people really didn't want it to happen. They thought it was awkward. They thought it was stupid. They thought it was for just kids. Most people have a social network, right, that they're involved in. There's not a business on earth that's not gonna have NFT infrastructure. It doesn't make any sense. It's technology. Right now, everyone's too fascinated on the art and the collectibles part. That's a tiny thing. Everyone's focused on the art and collectibles with a hint of utility, like I just did with VCon. The NFT is a ticket. It's gonna flip. It's utilities with a hint of collectability. Every one of Delta, your ticket, that might be worth $3 because it has some artist on it, but there's a million of them, right? So, of course they're gonna integrate it. There's no alternative.
TikTok just made a major move, and they talked about a 50-50 split, which would be the first platform that's come in for YouTube's super generous ad rev share. That has been a major, I think, a reason why creators flock there. It pays the best. Right now, it's limited to big creators, 100,000. And what do you think in terms of your predictions and TikTok gunning for everybody right now?
Look, I think they've done a really good job. I think, first of all, their algorithm is based on the interest graph instead of the social graph, which is a huge advantage. And I believe in merit. So my favorite thing is to look at all your TikToks where this video got 17 views, this one got 430, and this one got 1.9 million. That feels like merit. Everybody's Instagram being around the same numbers doesn't feel like merit. And so I think we're intoxicated by the merit of it. They've been very aggressive. They've already won. And now they're just going to expand. That's what everybody does, right? So they won on this thing. Now they're saying, oh, you can make longer videos. Oh, you can write more. Like today, I was like, wait a minute, I can write more copy. I missed the headlines. I've been in like a cocoon for 4 months with VCon and Series 2B friends. So they'll just create everything. And so, yeah, I mean, I think they're incredibly aggressive. They're still acting like a small company. They're innovating. And now they've got everybody following them. They're the clear leader, in my opinion, of the attention graph, which I think is the most important currency in the world. And I think it's a smart move.
If you, backstage, you said something, you said that short form is a gateway to long form. So what would your strategy be for that? If you're making TikToks, you're getting the short form reach. Is long form substance in your opinion? And does that mean send people off platform? Does that mean try to get TikTok to get your account to 10 minutes, which is super interesting, longer form vertical video? What do you mean by short form as a gateway to long form, and what would the tactics be in that?
It means that a lot of long-form creators don't focus on short form and vice versa. And there's a reason I have 1 hour keynote videos and 1 hour podcasts, but also pound unlimited micro content that's 10 seconds long. You can go very tactical, and a lot of people want to hear that. They're like, should I make a TikTok that says watch the rest on YouTube? It's less about that. People will find you. They become intrigued. Your URL strategy on all your social networks should be very thoughtful. I'm constantly changing them based on whatever my objectives are. But it just means that the world of content creating should be always thought about as and I notice that everybody's into or. Right? People are insecure. Most of you did not start on TikTok fast enough because you didn't have followers on it. You didn't start on TikTok fast enough because you had 80,000 followers on Instagram and you had 0 on TikTok, and you didn't like that feeling. That's why celebrities lost the first time around. So like there's things that you made fun of people for on Instagram, you became on TikTok. And so, I think it's always and. Everyone's in or. They're like, Gary, I'm already on Instagram. And they love using like logical excuses like, Gary, I need to focus. I'm like, cool, knock yourself out. I'll talk to you in 36 months when you're crying. You're focusing on losing. The lack of humility and the lack of interest in putting in the work on a new thing because you just figured out the last thing is why most people don't grow. There's not an accident that I've been winning on every platform for the last 15 years. It's called humility and hard work. You think I was pumped when I had 1 million followers on Twitter and Instagram came along? I was pissed. I'm like, I'm winning this bird game. But I'm like, everyone's gonna go there, so I need to go. You think I was pumped when TikTok came along? I was dominating the gram. I was like, that's where it's gonna be. So the lack of humility and the lack of like, I don't wanna learn this new thing, I just got this, that's fine. There's a problem though. What you want has nothing to do with what the market is doing. The market doesn't give a shit about your feelings. The market's not like, oh, Tyrone spent a lot of time on Instagram, we should not create TikTok. You think God's thinking like that? Get the fuck out of here.
Gary, that's a great lead-in
But it's like, right? It's like the hypocrisy's hilarious, especially within social. You won on YouTube or you won on Instagram doing that to the person that was holding on to Twitter or Facebook, but then you're mad when TikTok's doing it to you. The hypocrisy is deafening.
Powerful. That's, come on, yeah. Gary, that's a great lead-in to...
By the way, I'm laughing so... Did you see this? The old video, hard drive crashed.
Yep, got it. I know.
Makes me laugh.
Brutal. I know, right? But it's nice.
See, you have to adjust to reality.
We're adjusting. We got to pivot right now.
You wanted some sort of video.
That's right.
But the hard drive crashed.
We got to pivot.
Gotta pivot.
Yeah, life is life.
I'm pumped that you got a blue check on Instagram, but here comes TikTok to f it up. What are you gonna do?
What are you going to do?
You're gonna sit and hope? I'm watching everybody like hope. I hope this TikTok thing doesn't happen. All of you got forced in. Technology will beat your... I love all of you that don't think NFTs are coming. You will lose. You're pumped that the market's down. See? See nothing. I'll see you in 2027.
Let's go, baby! Hey, I love this lead into TikTok. There's a lot of people in the room they're at a place where there are a lot of people doing really well. I mean, some people starting out, and you always say, if you don't got money, but you got time, that's what you got to put the sweat equity in. But there's people in the room, they have money, and I'd like to hear about Team Gary Vee. And a lot of people think, okay, to do this, because you say, I went on TikTok, but part of the way you're doing that is because people are multiplying your content, you're casting vision. Can you speak into maybe, Team Gary Vee is pretty advanced now.
Yes.
Can we start a little bit at the beginning as you think about those that would say, what about my first hires? How do I even do this? I'm great at real estate or financial services, but okay, how do I start, where do I get my D-Rock? Where do I get the whole thing? Speak to early stages of building that team to help you grow with video.
You need to hire people that do things that you don't want to do.
Yes.
Where do you find them?
The internet. People say things that drive me crazy because they don't want to do it. As if you can't find it. Are you telling me you're at this conference and you can't find people? You don't know what Fiverr is, you don't know how to post on LinkedIn, you don't know how to search terms on Twitter. Like, people come up with excuses. A lot of people don't grow because they want money to buy things. A lot of people's businesses don't grow because they want the business to give them money so they can get a Corvette or a second. This is back to, you've got to find the thing you like. Because if you're building a brand or your thing to buy the yacht, you're not gonna build a very big thing. I'm just building the thing to build the thing. It's more interesting for me to build the thing than it is, it's like this. Some people actually here's a great comp. This blew my mind. One of the most stunning things that happened to me in my life. My whole life, I've wanted to be a professional athlete, right? So by 5th grade, I was like, I don't think I can play for the Jets. These kids have gotten much bigger and stronger. In fact, I had such good hand-eye coordination that I was killing people in first and second and third grade. But somewhere around like fifth grade, I'm like, why is everyone twice my size now? And so I was like, this might not be in the cards, and that's when I decided to buy the Jets. But I was like, if I can't play for it, I'll just own the whole thing. So now me and AJ get into the sports business, and we have a big practice now. And when I realized that a lot of kids play professional sports, but they don't love the game, it was just their best way to monetize, that like blew my mind. And I mean, really don't like it. And like even when we recruit kids now, I never want to recruit a kid that doesn't love the game. Because I don't think they're going to be at the, because we make our money on the second and third contract. There's kids that sign that first contract, and it's a wrap. You want to know why people are out of the league in 3-4 years? Because they didn't give a about the game. So for me, this thing that we're talking about, I don't want the things that come from being the best entrepreneur in the world. I just want to be the best entrepreneur in the world.
Push that. Pump that. Work that. Push that. Work out.
Win one championship, you're celebrated. Win twice, they call you a hero. 3 times, they say words like legend and dynasty. 4, 5, 6 titles, they'll say enough is enough. But when you've won it all 7 times, what's left to say? The trophy speaks for itself. Introducing the full lineup of Ram trucks. Ram, 7-time winner of Motor Trend's Truck of the Year.
We're going to jump right back into today's featured conversation, but I wanted to let you know about a brand new free masterclass and downloadable guide that's available for you at 21videotips.com. If you like content like this that you're learning from Patrick Bet-David and Sean Cannell, you can get 21 more video marketing tips from people like Patrick Bet-David, Vanessa Lau, Pat Flynn, Alex Hormozi, and so many industry experts that are using powerful strategies for their video marketing today. You're going to learn the best kept business secrets inside of this masterclass and free downloadable guide. So head over to 21videotips.com to get instant access for free and learn how you can level up your business and brand from today's top industry experts. Now let's get back into today's featured content.
So it goes to like, do you love it? Because if you don't, you can't get there. And so a lot of people don't have a D-Rock or a team because they don't want to spend the $53,000 on it because they want a Birka bag and they want to go to Tahiti and they want a Lambo. You're taking the money out of your business for your insecurities instead of feeding the business to win the game. People want to look successful more than actually be successful. Back to why I make so much content about self-esteem. The reason I focus on love and being kind to yourself and the shit that I've been talking about is that's the seed of the whole game. If you need Lambos and chains and accolades and check marks and 1 million followers to clog the holes that you have in your soul, then you're gonna not be able to build meaningful things because you're taken out of your business instead of feeding it.
Gary, for stage 2, and this is kind of a personal question because I'm a case study for it. You know, your influence I went from making tech review videos, from reviewing tech, doing tech tutorials and affiliate marketing, built a 6-figure income. One of the biggest pieces of advice as I'm watching your content and I'm absorbing is we put it back in. We put it back in. My wife and I just looked at the numbers in 2019. Our income went down. Our net was like nothing because we just went all in team. And then in 2020, things 4x'd after making a massive investment back in our business. We're now 23 people, and we're trying to really follow your model. 63 pieces of content a day, that free deck that you have or whatever.
All of the numbers I throw out are completely arbitrary. The number, I mean it. You're talking about the 86 pieces of content,
86.
Gary, yeah.
73?
4 TikToks a day. All of it's arbitrary. The number is as much as humanly possible. They're more at-bats for attention and opportunity. You know what's better than 100 push-ups? 200. You like that one, huh? But I love, you know who I love the most? Fitness people. Fitness entrepreneurs are my favorite. Let me tell you why. They're so good at their craft, like, right? Like, but then with the business, they don't do the thing they do in fitness. They like, in fitness entrepreneurs on people because people want shortcuts in fitness. They want implants, they want apple cider vinegar pills, they want all sorts of, when the answer is put the work in the gym and eat properly, like follow the model. But then as entrepreneurs, you see these all beefed up, did everything perfect. I'm talking about the ones that don't cheat. I'm talking about doing it right. And then they come to business and they're like, what's the shortcut? And I'm like, you know that there's no shortcut in this. The f are you looking for shortcut in this? Right? They fascinate me because they have such a big chapter of their life they know. Everyone's like, I spent 38 years looking for the shortcut. I'm like, what? They're like, it's go in the gym and eat properly.
Amen.
So back to content, I'm like, I don't know. Like, some of you make really good TikToks, but you don't do this. Like, you have to be contextual to the platform. You have to know who the audience is, and slang matters, right? You have to understand, you have to put in the reps, the content output. Like, you know, everybody tries to use social as distribution. They make one piece of content and post it everywhere. That completely doesn't work. You've got to contextualize and post creative for the platform. I've given 3 talks today. Flew in, that's why I was able to make it work with VCon. I'm super pumped about surrounding this, and I surrounded it. All 3 are different. I have to read the room. The philosophical, it's the same, but it's got to be different, right? It's like cuisine. It's all food, but it's different. And you have to know your audience. I don't understand how people come with YouTube DNA into TikTok and think it's gonna work. The mindset's different. The same person, the same human. I'm not talking about age and gender and race and religion. The same human being is a different consumer on TikTok than they are on Instagram. Your mindset's different. One's passive entertainment. On LinkedIn, it might be information. Like, it's all context.
So level 2 Gary V, Team Gary V.
Yes.
And so maybe break down, I'm looking, taking advantage of a little bit of advice, how you built the team, how fast you're trying to scale the team. Do you have people running, operating things, editors? I mean,
At this point, everything, you know, and maybe some people that are really paying attention, my content's a little bit down because VFriends and VaynerX is exploding, and I'm like, there's a lot for me to do there. But yeah, I mean, you know, I film everything.
Yeah.
I film absolutely everything, and then we go into post-production. And we strip the audio for the podcast, and we have writers who take the words. Like, everything is me. Even you know, everything has to be me.
How many people taking?
By the way, that's a real big point. Anybody here who has a social media person post on their behalf and write the copy, to this day, every single word on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, every single word in the copy is written actually by me. I know people who like immediately hire someone to post on their behalf and write the copy as if it's them. That's that apple cider gummies. So obviously I don't make the videos, but like half the videos in my WhatsApp with my team right now never get posted because I don't like it. Half. I don't like it. I think they missed the context. I think it's out of context. I don't want to talk about that right now because the world is this, that. And then I post it, me. So, you know, I think that people don't want to do the work. But you can have tons of people around you. We figured out document, don't create. That was the big unlock. Just film everything, post-produce. This is a good reason to start shows. If you look, you know, this might really help a lot of you. Go to YouTube tonight when you get back home, put in my name and sort by lowest views. You will be blown away how many little things I do and have done. No audience, because I wanted just the content from doing the podcast for my post-production. So like, At this point in my career, it's awesome because I get to win twice. Back in the day, I would do it because I wanted the content. Now it's like a double win because I know me being on a guest on an up and coming show really helps them. So I'm giving love and roses and I'm getting my content. But a lot of you say no to because your humility's not in check. I still say yes to that a lot of you pass on because I out humble you.
Gary, I have one more.
Walking around here like, oh, I'm only gonna do Joe Rogan. You suck right now. What are you talking about? You should do everything.
1 is greater than 0.
1 is greater than 0. I watch people walk around thinking there's somebody. There was somebody at VCon trying to get into somebody, but they're like, I got 18,000 followers on Instagram. I'm like, what the f? People get high on their own supply real quick. Real quick. People walking around here thinking there's somebody because they got 230,000 followers on TikTok. So? Humble the f up. We'll get better.
All right,
That was some I just hope everybody knows. No, this is important. I want everybody to know, that's not me razzing, that's me loving you. I see a lot of people saying no as if they're somebody. You want to really win? Decide you're nobody. Everything gets real interesting real fast after that.
Gary, one of the big things that holds people back is self-consciousness, but specifically people that worry about, how am I going to look on camera? How am I going to sound on camera? What would you say to somebody who's just trembling with fear to get on camera because of those insecurities?
I say a lot of things. It's the core foundation of my content. The last 7 years of my life have been dedicated on trying to build people's self-esteem. I sound crazy. Not all that great. I mean, I've gotten a little bit better looking, but I'm not winning on that. I don't, high school ended.
Yeah.
Everybody has zits too. People are I'd laugh when it was you really suck at this. I'm like, you suck too. As if not everybody sucks at everybody in here sucks. That's so much. It's crazy, right? And but you want I'll give you a real answer to what I actually think works. This is a wild answer to this, in my opinion, but I've really started to zero in. I'm going to help you jump over the hurdle of the fear of how I look, how I sound. Deploy compassion to those who shit on you. I think the reason I'm winning is when somebody says you're an idiot, you're a scam, you're full of shit, you suck, you're ugly, f you. My brain immediately goes to man, for somebody to take time out of their day to come to my profile to try to tear me down because they're hurting so much inside, I only have love for them. I'm aware that we're in a societal place right now where the way we respond to people's hate is with hate back to them. But I just don't have that gear. When I get shit on, I deploy love through the form of compassion. If you're able to do that, you won't hear them. But that's why I've been pounding on humility. The reason I work is because I've got this going on. For when I get 1,000 comments, 860 of them are a goat emoji. The other 140 are, you're a scam artist. When you can't hear either, you can move. When you only hear the goat stuff, you become vulnerable to the scam stuff. Too many people want that affirmation, and that's why people become unhappy. If your values are based on people giving you accolades, then you become susceptible to the teardown. I'm just attached to both. Can't hear you. I'm on the field. The f am I going to worry about you cheering or booing? I'm on the field. You're eating popcorn. You're making videos. You're putting in work. You're trying to win for yourself. You're worried about Sally Pants 97 in Arkansas who's pissed? Her.
Running a creator business is overwhelming. Constant content creation, community management, juggling of platforms, and unpredictable income, there has to be an easier way to monetize through memberships. Enter Uscreen. Hands down, the best all-in-one membership platform designed specifically for video creators. We help you generate consistent subscription revenue without losing your mind, with powerful monetization features, easy distribution across devices with a branded membership site and apps, sleek video organization and streaming capabilities, and community tools built to engage and retain more customers. Uscreen gives you the power to connect with your audience like never before, and the VIP treatment from our team of experts on hand to help you every step of the way. To make consistent, reliable revenue while keeping full control of the brand and business you've worked so hard to build. Start your membership journey with Uscreen today.
Twice Fiji gives me 24/7 freshness. It's gentle on my skin, and it's mine.
I thought we had no secrets.
Oh, hey, what do you mean?
Your Old Spice Fiji with 24/7 freshness?
How did you know?
I can smell coconuts and palm trees all over you. And because of the mirror,
Babe, I just wanted something for me.
that's why I got all this Old Spice Fiji.
Oh, for me?
For me.
I thought we had no secrets.
Well, if there's one thing Gary Vee can do, it's give you the kick in the pants to create more content. I hope you enjoyed that content there. And for me personally, listening to that, it just really affirms the idea that we just need to be creating more. I love how he said it's not long form or short form. It's not YouTube or TikTok. It's and, because we live in a world where attention matters. And one of the key things that I took away was that it needs to just 10x. Your content needs to 10x, and it needs to be relative to the platform that you're putting it on. And I know as a busy entrepreneur, this is probably something that you're thinking, how do I get this done? What do I do? And here at Think Media, we want to help you with that. We want to help you hire the right team. We want to help you learn how to use all the equipment that you're doing. We want to help you figure out great systems and processes so that you could be making content. And I just love so much how Gary just has a fire for making content matter. And I hope that was encouraging to you. And we'll have additional episodes just like this with some more of our key speakers from Grow with Video Live. So make sure you're tuned in here on the podcast, subscribe wherever you subscribe, and hit the like button if you like content like this here on our show. Now, every single week, my favorite part is getting to read the reviews of how this podcast is impacting you personally. And you can leave a review over on Apple Podcasts. And when you do that, you might get featured on one of our shows. Today's feature comes from the Marshall Walker. Marshall Walker says, I've hit a gold mine. Heather and Sean are the most motivational speakers I've ever heard. You can tell they really want their listeners to win and succeed. They practice what they preach and are amazing at what they do. They've helped me so much with my channel, and I don't know what I would do without them cheering me on. Ugh, Marshall, that literally is going to give me life for this next week. Thank you so much for leaving that review and sharing your heart of how this podcast has helped you personally. I really do hope that the content we're giving you here is valuable and is worth your time, because I know that your time is limited and I want to make sure that you are getting all the value that you can. Now, if you did not already, go to 21videotips.com. That's where you can go if you want to hear more tips like this for free from people like Gary Vaynerchuk, Patrick Bet-David, Vanessa Lau, Pat Flynn, and so many other industry experts when it comes to sharing their secrets of growing your brand online. You can go to 21videotips.com. You can get that free masterclass as well as the free downloadable content that goes along with it. I highly recommend that you go there now, get that, and dive into those 21 additional tips of how to grow this year. Thank you so much for being a part of what we're doing here at Think Media. Leave a comment down below in YouTube. And if you're watching right now, I just put thumbs up, because that's what you should do. Thumbs up the YouTube video. And thank you so much for listening. And we'll catch you in the next episode. Bye.
last video from you.
That's an awfully big file you got there. And big files, well, they don't download that fast. Rome wasn't built 2 minutes before class.
Oh, we're good. It's a Mac. We can just use AirDrop. You better get in there.
Whatever. Don't tell me what to do.
We went from 7 pieces of content a week. I did 3 on YouTube, and then I just repurposed the same 3 on a podcast to 80 content pieces a week. And so this is what happened in those 6 months. We added 300,000 subscribers on YouTube, 350,000 on TikTok, 150,000 buyers on Amazon for the book, 350,000 followers on Instagram, 100,000 on Twitter, and 400,000 downloads a month on the podcast. And so here's the how. And so this is the content creation model.
Welcome to the Think Media podcast. My name is Heather Torres, the host of this show, where we want to help you build your influence on YouTube and then turn that influence into a high impact and high profit online business. We want to welcome you if you are brand new to the show, and also welcome back to all of our returning listeners. If you've not yet subscribed wherever you receive this content, I want to encourage you to do that because we deliver a brand new episode every single Tuesday. So hit the subscribe button. I don't know why I'm holding up a like sign, but hit the subscribe button on YouTube or wherever you like to listen to your podcast. Well, today's video is brought to you by a brand new free resource that we want to get in your hands. You can go to 21videotips.com where you can actually get information just like this, like we're doing here on the podcast, but even more. We've got 21 video marketing tips from people like Patrick Bet-David, Vanessa Lau, Pat Flynn, and the person on our podcast today is Alex Hormozi. We've got more tips for you from Alex inside of our 21videotips.com. You can get some of the top marketing secrets right now, and they are sharing their best kept business building secrets inside of this resource for you. We also have a downloadable guide that goes along with this free resource so that you can get massive impact today with these video secrets. So go to 21videotips.com to get that free resource right now. Well, today I am giddy because one of the on the rise influencers or entrepreneurs who's actually teaching what he's done, Alex Hormozi, is on today's podcast. We're going to be doing a 2-part series with Alex for you here on the show. And today we're talking all about how he was able to grow to over 1 million followers in less than 6 months, why he decided to go in on content marketing and what the shift was for him as an entrepreneur, and how he did it and how he built a team around it. Now, if you've not heard of Alex Hormozi yet from acquisition.com, let me just tell you a little bit about who this entrepreneur is. Alex Hormozi is a first-generation Iranian American entrepreneur, investor, philanthropist, and the founder of acquisition.com. That's a portfolio company that does about $100 million a year. He's most known in the online space for his expertise in customer acquisition and monetization through his experience in scaling companies quickly. Alex is one of the fastest growing entrepreneurs on social media right now, and his YouTube channel has over 26 million views, where he helps entrepreneurs learn how to get more customers. He's also the best-selling author of the book $100 Million Offer, and he's the guest on today's show. So grab your pen and paper, lean into today's episode with Alex Hormozi.
So I was telling Sean backstage, I said, my promise to you is that this will be the worst presentation you have ever heard, the best presentation you've ever heard, or somewhere in between. So that is my promise for you guys today. So let's kick some butt. Cool? Let me see, I'm gonna go back one. There we go. Okay, so I'll just kind of share with you some of the things that I've learned over the last 6 months. So how I built a 1 million+ organic following in the last 6 months. Cool? Good news is if you can do it like this, anybody can do it. All right. So just transparency on this. Like, I built all my companies off paid ads, affiliates, cold outbound teams, or referrals. And that is usually what I'm asked to speak about. I have never built an organic brand. This is my first time. So I just like to get those disclaimers out ahead of time. And so what I have to share may not work for everyone, or in fact be true at all. But it worked for me this time, so that's what I'm gonna share, okay? So just take everything with a gigantic grain of salt that I say, all right? Because a lot of you guys are probably better at this stuff than I am. So that's probably you guys here. There's me on the side, watching you guys be much better than me at video. And so without further ado, 1 million fans, 6 months in 60 minutes or less. So this morning, I don't know if you guys do this, but like morning of, I redo, what's up, Golden? I redo everything again, because I'm like, oh, this is I have to redo it all. And so I broke it into 3 sections to make more sense. So section 1 is, why did I do this to begin with? And why you might think it's a good idea too. 2, what and how much? Like, what do we do to actually create that? And then 3rd is observations, because I had no other better heading for it than that. So that's what it is. Okay, so let's rock and roll. So quick backstory, I'm gonna go through this as fast as possible. This is me when I started my business career, sleeping on the floor. I signed my first lease, slept on that floor for the first 9 months, was able to get it to that picture on the left in a year. Then I opened a new location every 6 months after that. And then over the next 18 months, I met Layla and we did gym turnarounds. So we basically fly from place to place to place and fill gyms up, but it was a hands-on sales model. I had at our peak 8 sales guys turning around 8 gyms every month. That became tenuous logistically, and we're like, I wonder if there's a better way. And so from there, we packaged our IP for a better gym model into a licensing business. And so we were able to grow Gym Launch, which was a B2B business, to $2.5 million a month, Prestige to 1.7 a month, which was B2B2C. That was an affiliate-based business, and it was weight loss and supplements, so e-commerce. Then we scaled Ellen to 1.6 million a month, which was B2B2C. And we just recently sold that for 46.2, and we just sold that one last year as well, which I'm not allowed to say the number, but there you go. Then we started acquisition.com, which right now does about 13 million a month, which is cool. And I appreciate it. So that sounded weird. So right now we grow $3 million plus internet businesses into $30 million plus sellable businesses. That's kind of what we do now. And so hopefully you're probably asking this question, which is like, what does this have to do with growing video or growing with video? Check. But I started making video content with 3 goals. So number 1 was to attract internet business owners doing $3 million or more who align with our values. Number 2 is to help all businesses below our minimum deal size to just grow to the deal size. That was kind of the idea. Like, how do I just get everybody who's at $1 million to $3 million or 100K to $3 million, whatever, just get everybody up above that level so we can hopefully work with them. And then 3, to create a place where I could document and share the best practices of building world-class companies from my experience. And like, we're not the Elon Musks and the Bezoses and all that, but I wish that those guys had documented what they had done. Like, how cool would it have been to see like the vlog of Amazon in 1996, right? How sick would that have been? And like every day is like, yep, almost lost the company today. Like 6 months later, almost lost the company again. Like, I thought that would have been awesome. So I thought, you know, I did a really poor job of documenting everything up to this point. And so I was really committed to like, all right, for this next phase, I really want to do a better job of it. So that's the idea. All right, oops. And ironically, when we started doing that, lo and behold, businesses doing $3 million or more started reaching out to us, which was awesome, right? Success. So I guess this might have something to do with video. But believe me when I say that no one is surprised as me about this kind of organic stuff in general, because I've never done it before. So we're on this ride together. All right, so here's the goal for the presentation. Give you a few lessons that I've learned to take you from wherever you are to a little closer to wherever you want to go with this presentation. I'm so good at content. There's the little man. Okay, great. So disclaimer, again, never done this. I also didn't want to be famous or known for a very long time. There's me saying I want to be rich, not famous. But several experiences changed my mind, so I'll walk you through this really quickly. So when Kylie, do you remember this when Kylie was announced that she was a billionaire? Well, that's what I felt like that day. I was like, what am I doing wrong?
You have reviewed the CBC, interpreted the CMP, analyzed the ECG. Everything's within range. As a Navy doctor, you've assessed vitals and cleared red flags. A SEAL returned to duty. A submariner fit for the depths. Here, medicine makes the mission. Navy medicine lets you focus on patients who protect us all, while we focus on administrative hassles and even cover your medical school loans. Start your mission at Navy.com/medicine. America's Navy, forged by the sea.
And then The Rock, killing it. And then boom, he's got a $2 billion plus tequila brand that he was able to launch off his organic audience. Conor McGregor, $600 million with Proper 12. It's probably grown since now. Huda, now is a $1 billion brand. And so I can be a little slow sometimes, but I can kind of read the writing on the wall. So there's the writing on the wall. But I didn't want to build an e-commerce brand because all those were e-commerce physical products brands, and I was like, it's not my vibe. I already did that once, and it's not my favorite of the businesses that we've done. So I still kind of dragged my feet a little bit. And that's when I heard this guy, Nomad Capitalist, who teaches people to not be U.S. citizens. That's not the point, but so you can not pay taxes. But anyways, that's when I heard a podcast by this guy, and he was like, oh yeah, I get about 3,000 applications a month. I was like, holy cannoli. I was like, well, if I had 3,000 applications a month, I would make at least $1 if that were my life. And so I realized it could work for B2B, not just e-commerce stuff. I was like, that's neat. And then I heard Neil Patel was doing $100 million a year doing B2B agency services, all off inbound. I was like, okay, this might make sense. And so again, I still was like, all right, so it does work for B2B, organic stuff works, but I still didn't really want to be famous. That was not my vibe. And so I met up with dear friends of ours, Lisa and Dean Graciosi, and we had a conversation that was kind of the last straw here. So I was like, dude, being famous sounds terrible. He was just telling us about how somebody shut up his house and threatened his kids, and I was like, that sounds fucking awful. Why? No, thank you. I'm good. I will just pass on grass. And so he was like, if getting harassed and attacked is the price I have to pay for it's supposed to say impact. That was perfect. For the impact that I want to have, then I'd pay that price every time, which totally takes away from the impact of that message. But I was like, he's right. You know what I mean? He said, if that's the price I have to pay to make the impact I want to have, then I pay that price every time. I was like, all right, I need to stop being all right. So 18 months ago, I started a YouTube channel. Some of you guys may have anybody seen this, the YouTube channel? Nosy Nation. Woo. And so I built 2 expensive studios to launch this thing. I started making 3 videos a week. Side note, important lesson that I learned on a vacation. That really one did better than my really fancy one, which then taught me that what's inside the content matters more than the wrapper. So for anybody who's worried about getting started, about making it look right, I don't think it matters. I mean, I think it matters a little bit, but it's 80-20. So focus on the 80.
Well, I hope you are enjoying today's session. And I wanted to let you know that if you are loving content like this, then you definitely need to go to 21videotips.com, where you can actually get 21 more video marketing tips just like this from industry experts like Patrick Bet-David, Vanessa Lau, Pat Flynn, and Alex Hermosi, and so many amazing video marketers of our day. They're sharing their best kept business building secrets inside of this masterclass and free downloadable guide. So just head over to 21videotips.com to get instant access for free and learn how you can level up your business and brand. That's 21videotips.com. Now let's get back into today's content.
All right, and so I continued my very steady growth for that period of time, which is great. Recommend. But, the first 12 months, we went from 600 to 70,000 subscribers, which was cool. And so things were going smoothly until one day I had a chat with Grant Cardone about branding. And it reminded me that all the lessons that I'd learned in business applied to all this organic stuff. And so I was on this call with him, and I have the full video on my YouTube channel if you want to check it out. Yeah. He was like, bro, I'm not even going to try. He was like, bro, pull up your Instagram. And I was like, okay. He's like, pull up my Instagram. He's like, I got 10 times the content as you. 10 times. He's like, bro, it's volume, bro. Volume. And I was like, that's deep. And so I was like, I should probably do more, which is a lesson that I have learned over and over and over again in business, and I'll tell you a couple more stories about it later. But like, so many times we're doing the right stuff, we're just doing way, way too little of it. Like, I'll tell you a quick story which is not on this presentation, but when I started my first gym, I was told that I should put flyers out. And so I went, I'm like really, full of vinegar. I was like, I'm gonna go do it. So the business owner who told me it was more successful than me, et cetera. And so I went, I put the flyers out, and then like nothing really happened. So I met back up with him a few weeks later, and he was like, hey, how'd the flyers work? And I was like, I got one guy who called me and said I picked up his car. That was it. He's like, well, what was your test size? I was like, I was like, well, I mean, I put 300 out. And he's like, dude, our test size is 5,000. He's like, that's what we test with. He's like, and then we do 5,000 a day. I was like, oh. Noted. And so it was just a really good lesson, and that happens with phone calls. Like, yeah, I'm gonna start doing cold calls. You make 10 calls every 3 days when you're feeling motivated, rather than doing 200 dials every day, like it's clockwork before lunch. You know what I mean? The level of effort difference is not like 2x or 4x. It's like 50x. It's a lot bigger, and most people dramatically underestimate the amount of volume and effort that is required to get to where you want to go. Like dramatically. And so I have so many lessons that this repeated, and I was taught yet again in a different sphere that I'm not familiar with that this was true. I'm also wearing the same shirt.
Push that. Pump that. Work that. Push that. Work out.
So I decided to take his advice and dramatically increase the amount of content that we created and how many places we displayed it, right? And so before I tell you, who wants to guess how many pieces of content we started putting out weekly after that call? 25? 10,000? Less than that. I would be so much more famous if I put 10,000 out. What was that, 100? Good guess. So we went from 7 pieces of content a week. I did 3 on YouTube, and then I just repurposed the same 3 on a podcast, to 80 content pieces a week. And for scale, if you remember the first line that I showed you way before, the top of that is that purple line from the first graph I showed you. And so pretty cool. And so this is what happened in those 6 months. We added 300,000 subscribers on YouTube, 7,000 followers on Instagram. Still haven't really cracked that one. 350,000 on TikTok, 150,000 buyers, which is cool, on Amazon for the book. 350,000 followers on Instagram, 100,000 on Twitter, and 400,000 downloads a month on the podcast. Cool, right? So basically a million person audience within that 6 months. And because I am more of a business guy than I am a quote influencer creator, this was what I cared about. So the net traffic result for us was web traffic went from basically non-existent to about 100,000 unique clicks a month to the site, just organically. Pretty cool. Number 2 is the subscribers, which I told you before. And then this is one that's really cool. For who here runs paid ads? Can I get a, okay, some of you, cool. So this will resonate with you. So in the businesses that I had, at a $25 CPM, we were getting $2 million a month in exposure for free. Not only not free, we're getting paid to do it. Crazy. Like I'm beside myself still because I think it's insane. So the fact that this opportunity exists right now is literal insanity to me. Like we're getting paid now to market. Like what a world, right? And so the business result from that is that we get about 400 companies a month that apply for acquisition.com, so we can help them scale. And in that time period, we grew from 7 million a month to 13 million a month. And disclaimer on that is that part of that was just the companies themselves grew. It wasn't like new companies. But still a lot in 6 months. And so if you're anything like me, you're probably thinking, well, that's really great for you, Alex, but what about me? Which is why I made section 2. Which is how and how much, all right? So here's where you come in. All right, so let's start with how much. So just a reminder here in terms of time, I'm not like a creator full time. So it's like 93.7 is probably the amount of time that I allocate towards this. And so money-wise, this costs me $20,000 a month to do. All right, you can scale this down however you want. I also don't have a tremendous amount of time that I allocate towards it, so I have to compensate with that with money. You could probably do this on your own. This is how I do it. So we have a Twitter editor, a YouTube editor, a LinkedIn editor, a podcast editor, and an IG and TikTok editor. All right. And there's 2 of us, so times 2. So it's actually $40,000 a month for the both of us. Okay. The amount of time that it takes me is 2 days per month and 4 hours per week, and that is what I dedicate towards this. And so, quick recap: I have a daily mind dump, which I'll show you how I do it in a second, because I'm going to show you the whole model. I do a weekly Twitter review. It takes me like 4 hours because Twitter is actually really important to how I do all this stuff, which I'll explain later. And if you guys aren't on Twitter, it's my favorite platform. But we do 1 day a month of recording, and then for shorts, and then 1 day a month. It's usually like a half day. I'll do like 4 to 8 YouTube videos, the ones that are direct to camera, and that's it. That's the jam. So that's the how much. That's my investment. That's my cost to do this. And so here's the how. And so this is the content creation model. All right, that's the big visual, and those are the bold bullets. Fantastic. Let's start with the first one. So, test, record, inject, contextualize, distribute. So, the old way that I used to do content was I would just have this ongoing email thread to myself. I don't know if you guys have like notes or like a chain to yourself, because you probably get ideas, you're in a conversation, like, oh, I should make a piece of content on that, right? And then you email it to yourself, and that's how I did it for a long time. And the new way is the Twitter way, which is being blocked by the thing because it formatted weird. But I post all of those ideas as tweets on Twitter rather than just sending them to myself. And so all of a sudden what used to be my inbox is actually just my like tweet thread. All right. And so I tweet about 5 times a day-ish. And the nice thing is that Twitter is a very forgiving platform. So it's just like stream of consciousness, and it takes notes. You don't have to pick videos or captions, or I like it because it's just thoughts. I love Twitter so much for that reason. And so I'll post this stuff, and I'll be like, okay, those are the ones that people thought were interesting. And then the threads become long format, and the shorts become short format, or the tweets become short format. Pretty simple. Step 1. Everyone following with me so long? Yeah! Oh, man. Anyone feel like you could do that? All right, doable. Yes. Second step is recording, right? Why am I doing both? I realized that because you're like, why do you do short stuff? I was kind of against shorts. And then I realized that I've never actually consumed anything from Gary Vee that's long. But I like Gary Vee a lot. And I was like, oh, well, I guess that worked. So that's why I do both. Right? And so I think it's a width and depth thing. I think the shorts give you a lot of breadth. I think the longs give you a lot of depth, right? And so there's a visual that I put together that took me too long to say that same thing. Great. So this is everything that I know about how to make content that, quote, goes viral. I watched a long interview with Mr. Beast. My big practice of trying to learn stuff is go to the person who's the best at it and listen to them because they've already reorganized the information for you. Hack. And so he's like, listen, all these guys make this all compliment with their tags and the hashtags, and if any of you guys sell that, this is not me offending you. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Remember, big grain of salt. But he said, it's just CTR times watch time. That's it. You got to get people to click, and you got to get people to watch. I was like, okay, that makes sense. He's like, and that's what YouTube wants. They want people to be interested in the content to get the click, and then make sure that the content fulfills the promise of the thumbnail. Cool. I was like, I can do that. And so this is the general format that I've used for the longs, which is like a hook or a question that I'm answering, usually a story that's relevant to answer the question, a framework that I've applied to repeat that process, and then an explanation of why I think it works. That's it. And if I want to make longer stuff, it's just that process with multiple stories, repeating that over and over again. The shorts is a hook or a question, a hammer, which for me is my tweet. I put the tweet as the next thing I say because I already know it converts. And then I have an example and an explanation. That's about it. That's Alex's $1 million thing. There we go. Fantastic. And so this is an example. So it's like 28 ways to guarantee poverty, or 28 ways to stay poor, right? So I made this thread, got a lot of shares, cool, 28 rules, reprogram your mind to be rich in 22 minutes. So I have to change the headline and stuff, but the content was identical. I just did it in a video, right? And then the short ones that do well, it's like, all right, overheard from a Navy SEAL, blah, blah, blah. Authenticity is just a fancy word. Boom, I just make a short version of the same thing, just saying the tweet. Does this make sense? Yeah. Okay, cool. And then I upload it. Fancy so far? All right, ta-da. Next one is inject. So we grew the podcast actually recently from like 20,000 a month to 400,000 a month. And a big part of that was just having call to actions. Sounds really dumb, but I wasn't doing it. So do it. And so the way that we did it was we recorded 2 versions of each of the call to actions. So like call to actions to other channels, lead medics, share a tag. If you have a lower ticket product, I don't, but like, or if, for me, I guess I have a book, it's 99 cents. Leave a review if you want to ask for clients or, send a question, or there's my book there, Grand Slam offer. So I would just record 2 different CTAs for that. And then I just inject them into the content. So this is what it might look like. So it's like you have your CTA 1, content, mid-roll, content, end off. Does that make sense? So we started doing that with the podcast, and it started to grow a lot. And now we're actually doing it in the rest of the forms of content. So you'll see that from me because this has been working. So this is me doing this, walking the talk. All right, the point directions, etc. Okay, contextualize.
Win 1 championship, you're celebrated. Win twice, they call you a hero. 3 times, they say words like legend and dynasty. 4, 5, 6 titles, they'll say enough is enough. But when you've won it all 7 times, what's left to say? The trophy speaks for itself. Introducing the full lineup of Ram trucks. Ram, 7-time winner of Motor Trend's Truck of the Year.
Good morning! Right, guys?
You wake up, good morning is a brand new day. Blue skies above, it's a perfect day.
So anyone seen this one before? Everyone see this like meme that went viral? So it's like everybody kind of appears somewhat differently, even though it's the same person, depending on the setting that you're in, right? On Facebook, you look a certain way. LinkedIn, you look a certain way. Tinder, you look a certain way. I had a sales guy who was on, this is not relevant at all, was on Tinder, and he would close every one of his dates on buying our supplements. So that he could get, he was like, it always covered dinner. Savage. Anyways, just, shooters gotta shoot. Okay, so you have to make this stuff contextual, and so this is what we do. So this is the same video, right? It's that same Navy SEAL video I made earlier, right? So that's a reel, that's a TikTok, and then that's the YouTube short. So it's the same thing, you just make it match the platform. Same way you would make your Facebook look different than your Instagram look different than your LinkedIn, etc. As long as you just make it contextual, I think it does a lot better. Because have you guys seen people just like take literally the exact same thing and post it on the wrong platform? I just think it just hurts it. And it's just not that much effort to make it contextual. All right, last one, distribute. Then we distribute them. All right, so we went from 7 times a week to 80 times a week in distribution. That was the result over that 6-month period, which is a lot of growth. Awesome. And so we 10x the inputs and we got 10x the outputs. Surprising, right? So who here would like 10 times the output? Well, then you can just 10x the input. All right. Good talk. So, quick recap. All right, content creation model, test. First thing you do, make your brain dump into something that's actually generating content. So this is net 0 time for me. I was doing it, and I just started doing it publicly. Number 2 is that once I have the stuff that's winning, I record it. I record the threads as longs, I record the tweets as shorts. From there, the team injects the call to action so that I can direct the traffic whatever way I want to direct it, right? 4, and big one on this last injection thing, like, if you don't do this, because I wasn't, you get all of these impressions and like eyeballs and stuff, and you'll get followers, but like you don't drive a result. Which again, sounds silly that I wasn't doing this, but I told you at the beginning, you guys are better than I am at this. Number 4 was contextualize it. I just think it works a lot better. And then finally, you cut it and increase the volume.
Well, that is part one of our two-part series here on the show with Alex Hormozi. We're going to be diving deeper into his observations, that third step that he talked about in today's episode, and that will be coming out very soon. So make sure you are locked in here on the show so that you can get access to that second part and all the things that Alex learned from figuring out how to go all in with his content creation. Now, every single week, we love to bring one of our Think fan members here on the show and say thank you for rating and review this podcast. When you do that over on Apple Podcasts, it helps other entrepreneurs and content creators just like you see that this show is for them. So I want to thank today's reviewer, which is iFunChris Channel. Chris says, the Think Media podcast review. I learn a lot on YouTube and you're helping me out. Thanks for the help to the YouTube creators. Well, thank you so much, Chris, for being one of our listeners and for taking the time to rate and review the show. It means the world to us. Now, if you've not left a comment down below on YouTube, I'm going to encourage you to share your aha moment from this episode. I love to be able to go through, read your comments, and see the value that you're getting from what we're doing here on the podcast. So leave your aha moment down below. I'd love to read it. And thank you so much for being a part of what we're doing. Part 2 of this series will be coming out shortly, so make sure you're locked in, and we'll catch you in the next episode. Bye.
I remember those biochem notes. It was 15 semesters ago to this very night.
How old are you?
Dozens of pages of incoherent ramblings. I'd hoped to finish by 2 a.m., but it was just...
Thanks. It's a Mac. You can just create key points.
Look at the big brain on Kevin.
Sign up in seconds. It's about time insurance does that. Get a quote at lemonade.com.
Unspoken question in every person's mind that has to first be answered, which is, why should I listen to you? Imagine you're talking to a guy, you don't know anything, and he's just like talking about business, and you're like, oh, that's cool. And then like 2 seconds later, it's like, dude, that guy's a billionaire. All of a sudden, you're like, right? The frame matters. So here's how it looks in the real world, all right? Hey, here's what I did versus here's what you should do. Feel the difference? As soon as you point out, people hate you. Because it sounds like you're preaching. It sounds like you have an ego, and I just don't think people like that. And so I think it's really speaking on your truths rather than claiming to know the truth.
Welcome to the Think Media podcast. My name is Heather Torres, the host of this show, where we're helping you build your influence on YouTube and then turn that influence into a high impact and a high profit online business. Welcome back. If this is your returning time to Think Media, that song Welcome Back just came in my head. Welcome back, welcome back. Okay, anyways, if you're brand new with us, we want to say welcome to this show. Hopefully someone shared this with you, or you found us somewhere on YouTube or on the Apple Podcast channels, and we want to say welcome. Every single Tuesday, we deliver a brand new episode to you. So make sure you're locked in, subscribed, wherever you consume this content so you can get the latest episodes that come out, just like this one. Now, we're heading into part 2 of our series with Alex Hormozi. He was one of our special guests at our annual conference, Grow with Video Live, and we're diving into the second part of his content. And let me tell you, the first part, if you didn't listen, was amazing. Make sure you go back and listen to the previous episode so you can get all the context as to why he started doing YouTube, how he made the mindset shift, and how he's been able to grow his influence to over 1 million followers in less than 6 months. It was a no-miss episode, so mark that down for your next one. Now, today, we're going to be going into more of what he learned from this experiment of going all in as a content creator and not just an entrepreneur. He's going to be breaking down some of the mindset shifts that he had to go through and a lot of mistakes that content creators make when they're getting started. I also love that he's talking about how you don't have to be an expert to get started, but giving you the tools to actually press record. So we're going to dive into today's episode with Alex Hormozi. Now, if you don't know who this entrepreneur is, you are in for a treat. I've been so impacted by the work that Alex and his wife Layla Hormozi are doing on the platform of YouTube, but just in general with helping entrepreneurs learn how to actually get their message out there and how to build businesses the right way. Now, Alex Hormozi is a first-generation Iranian American entrepreneur, investor, philanthropist, and the founder of Acquisition.com, a portfolio company that does about $100 million a year. He's most known in the online space for his expertise in customer acquisition and monetization, getting customers and making money from it through his experience in scaling companies quickly. Alex is one of the fastest growing entrepreneurs on social media right now, with his YouTube channel of over 26 million views, where he's helping entrepreneurs learn how to get more customers. He's also the best-selling authors of one of my favorite books, $100 Million Offer. And if you don't have it, definitely pick that one up. But let's jump into part 2 of our series with Alex Hormozi.
That. Push that. Pump that. Work that. Push that. Work out, work out, work out.
So that concludes section 2. How much and how? Fantastic. Observations. I was going to call it musings, but then I thought no one would know what that meant. So I just gave you the traditional lip service on a content generation model. It's kind of boring, and I don't think it's that interesting, which is why I tried to get through it quickly, because a lot of people will ascribe that as the reason that we grew a lot, and I don't think that's why. But I'm presenting it because I would end up getting a zillion questions about it, and so that's why it's there. I think the real reason that we were able to grow, so I'm gonna put my real hat on for a minute, is that, and again, this is my 2 cents, there you go, is that there's an unspoken question in every person's mind that has to first be answered, which is, why should I listen to you? And I think it's one of the most profound questions. And I think it influences how people share, how people take your content, everything. It's the frame that the content is consumed in. So I'll give you a real world example. Imagine you're talking to a guy, you don't know anything, and he's just talking about business, and you're like, oh, that's cool. And then 2 seconds later, it's like, dude, that guy's a billionaire. All of a sudden, you're like, right? The frame matters a lot. Elon Musk makes a tweet that's like, I'm on the toilet, and it gets 500 million shares, right? This guy's hilarious, right? It's because it's Elon, right? And he has a brand that he's established, and there's context there. And so I think that we should have this question answered for ourselves and our prospects before creating content, all right? And so imagine for a moment that I had done this whole presentation up to this point, and I had a 1,000 person total audience between all of those platforms. Same presentation. How different would that feel, right? Just imagine, dude on stage, you don't know me, and I have 1,000 people on Instagram and that's it. Same presentation. You would receive it differently, right? Right, I would, because I would think it was stupid, pointless, preachy, better than thou, full of and if you're so good, why don't you do it? That's what I would think, right? And so we have to answer the question, why should I listen to you? And I think a lot of you are making content from a weak frame, and that's just what I see. That's just me witnessing it. It's like the 18-year-old relationship coaches. You know what I mean? they're real. You know, like they're out there. Some of you are here. You can, like, being real, right? You know, or it's like the business coaches that are doing $5,000 a month. I don't have a lot of, like, you know. So besides all the stuff that we shared earlier, the real reason that I think our audience is growing is that we're talking about stuff that we have evidence to support. Like, that's the real, right? So all the stuff I said earlier, sure, you can do that. That worked for me. You might not like Twitter. I like Twitter because it's easy for me. If it's not easy for you, don't do it, right? Which is why this worked for me this time, right? That's the context. But I think this stuff is the more kind of eternal stuff. And that's why I was kind of like excited to get to part 3. Yes. And so I think it's about having the evidence for your others and most importantly for yourself, right? We built these other companies first before ever talking about how to build companies, right? And so if you're like, great, Alex, nice for you. So how do I make content if I'm just starting out? Excellent question. So there's 2 frame shifts that I think have to occur. Do, then talk, how I versus how to, and give versus get. All right, so let's start with the first one. So who here hates this, right? How to live an amazingly happy life and get everything that you want from somebody who is doing this part-time and is still cutting hair, right? There's nothing wrong with cutting hair, but it probably wouldn't make you an authority on this matter. Does that make sense? Some of you are doing this and wondering why it's not working. You're like, I mean, my stuff's so much better. It honestly doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because if I had 1,000 people on stage, like on my followers, and I made the same presentation, you wouldn't give it. Like, I'm trying, like, real, right? And so there's a better way, I think. All right, so this is Alex's crazy content creation model, trademark pending. All right, step 1, do. Step 2, talk about what you just did. I know. And then do bigger. This is a complex model, I know. We're getting to it. So here's how it looks in the real world, all right?
When you're in Navy medicine, you see more than numbers on a chart. Behind every checkup, every set of vitals is a service member who needs you. A pilot preparing for takeoff, a submariner diving beneath the waves. Here, medicine makes the mission. Navy medicine lets you focus on patients who protect us all, while we focus on administrative hassles and even reimburse your medical school loans. Start your mission at Navy.com/medicine. America's Navy, forged by the sea.
Hey, here's what I did, versus here's what you should do. Feel the difference? This is what I did. If it works for you, awesome. If it doesn't work for you, no sweat. Here's 20 of my clients. This is the stuff that I'm doing with them right now. Rosie was struggling with some skin condition. We started giving her magic pills, and look at her skin now. It's amazing, right? But like, this is what, it might not work for you, but this will work for her, and this will work for him, and this will work for my clients, right? Not what you should do. As soon as you point out, people hate you. Because it sounds like you're preaching. It sounds like you have an ego, and I just don't think people like that. And so I think it's also switching from I'll switch the other way. Switching from how to how I. So how to build a massive social media following to how I built the following that I have. Feel the difference? It's really small, but really big in terms of how people interpret your message. Because it's like, I appreciate it. I think that what happens is when you say it that way, you're like, you're pulling back and saying like, hey, like, I hope this serves you in some way. Like, this is like me opening the kimono, this is stuff that's working right now for me. Whereas the other way, you're at the pulpit commanding, giving demands and commanding people, and I just don't think people like that. I mean, how many people, their entire Instagram feed is people shaking their finger at you, right? It sucks. I hate it, right? And so I think it's really speaking on your truths rather than claiming to know the truth. And I think there's a point I probably make later, but I'll bring it up now, is that everyone is unquestionably an expert on your own life. No one can question that. If I say I had oatmeal for breakfast this morning, I am untouchable. You know, it was kind of lame. But from a factual standpoint, like no one can challenge me on that. Like this is what I eat every day. No one's gonna be like, you Alex, like harming the planet, right? They're not gonna say that because like that's real, that's true. No one can touch that, right? But as soon as I say you should have oatmeal for breakfast, right? It's this big of a difference, but it makes all the impact in the world in terms of how people receive the message. So question, who here makes the content because they want to become famous and feel good about themselves? Ooh. Or who here is making stuff because they want it to be received and help the audience? Right? And so the thing is you have to feed them and not you. And I think if you can make that shift, I think, in my opinion, it will be more effective. And so if you look at the biggest influencers in the business space, because this is the space that I'm kind of in, you look at these guys, I mean, shoot, half these guys are talking here. So congrats to the event, it's awesome. I'm very honored to be on stage with them. So that's the ACCCM at work, the Alex Crazy Content Creation Method at work, by the way. Dude, talk about that you did. Which one of these guys made money from their social media following? Made the money they have from the social media following. Right. And so how many of these people needed the followers? None. Right? People are like, I want to be the next this. It's like, if you want to be the next that, then you got to walk that walk. Right? And so you probably won't be respected as an authority on business until you've achieved mega success. The same reason you look at your competitors like, that guy sucks. It's like they're looking at you. Right? And it's because, why should I listen to you? And so here's the good news, because you're like, well, Alex, what do I talk about? Here's the good news. You can become a niche-specific authority. So rather than going like, here's how to live an amazing life, right? That's like, you've got to be Jesus. Jesus can do that. You can't do that. Jesus can do that, right? So you got to go from here to like, I'm really good at helping people build ATM businesses. I'm really good at how people flip houses in Phoenix, right? Because in that little ocean, that little pond, you can be king. Because you got to compete against 20 guys, and you got to walk the talk, right? You got to do what you're doing, and you talk about what you're doing. That's it, but you can win in that little pond. And I'll show you how to scale from there in a second. But you can do that, all right? And so this is me when I started. So I had a couple powerlifting records, and I liked working out, right? And so, thank you. And so the stuff that I did then was about what I was doing then. And so you can't read it, but it says how to get rid of stubborn fat on your arms and stomach. That's the content I was making then. And who is it relevant for? Just the members at my gym. But that was my way of adding value, and I already had rapport with them. So they're like, if I'm gonna learn about this identical topic from 100 different people, I'd just rather learn about it from you because I like you. And I had values-based rapport, not expertise. Like I had general expertise because I looked the way I looked, but beyond that, I didn't have a PhD. It's not like I did a ton of research. I read the same articles and just tried to make it entertaining. That was it. And I didn't become mega famous for that. But this made me money. This made me enough money to, grow the company that I had at the time. And so from there, I leveraged that to grow my first gym and then the gyms after that, right? And then from there, once the gyms grew, I started making content about how to grow gyms. Why? Because I knew how to grow gyms. I wasn't like how to scale your SaaS company. You know what I mean? Like how to reach $1 billion valuation. Like I was like, I don't know, but this is what worked for my gyms. And people are like, dude, this stuff works. I'm like, I know, because I'm doing it. This is how I do it. Like I know it works. This is how I do it. Of course it works. I'm doing it. Here's what's crazy. So many people are talking about and teaching stuff that A, they have never done, and B, they are repurposing someone else's content and making a version of it. Some of them are you. And that's the thing is like when you start talking the theoretical and trying to teach something, it's how to rather than how I, right? So if you do the thing, then you just talk about what you just did. Now, later on, I think it's the capture don't create, documents don't create concept, but I understand that takes resources. Like it takes money to get people around you to, document your life and all that kind of stuff like that. That's expensive. But I think just even doing recaps of like, this is the stuff that's working right now for us in this context. People are like, thanks. You didn't have to do that. Thanks for sharing that stuff that's working for you. Rather than how to.
Holy Survey Monkey.
You know Cheez-It made extra toasty?
Of course. Want it, need it, Cheez-It.
And no, if you do it that way, you will not gain a mega following at first. But you will accomplish it, which will set you on the path for you to be broader later. So the Gym Secrets podcast became the game. Then I published from the Gym Launch Secrets book, which is how to build a profitable gym, to the $100 million offers book. And the difference in scale was pretty tremendous. That's my Gym Launch Secrets book, but I still think it's a phenomenal book, by the way. To that book. And that book's done that in less than a year, and that other book's been out like 4 years. And so it's not bad, it's just sequence. People try and go out of sequence. They try and say, like, why am I not Tom Bilyeu? Why can't I'm doing everything Tom Bilyeu's doing, except for building Quest. Oops. Like, that's why what he says is relevant, right? Like, you know what I mean? Because the thing is like, we want everybody here, most people seek truth. Would you say if you're like, raise your hand if you seek truth? Okay, so the easiest shortcut for the brain to seek truth is to look at someone who's the most extreme version and then think, okay, I don't have to apply a lot of decision-making filtering here because now I can just absorb this because I can just take this as fact. Because if Warren Buffett says this is how I should invest, I feel okay about that source. Even if he's like, save your money, spend less than you earn, dollar cost average into the S&P, and don't buy gold, right? Like, he says that stuff and you're like, okay. Now, the stay-at-home teacher who's been saving all of her money could say the exact same thing, but she just forgot to build Berkshire Hathaway. And so the thing is that, and I'm actually very against the whole confidence mantra of like people being like, you gotta believe in yourself, you gotta, you have to do things so that you have evidence that you can support why you are good. Yes. You guys are great. And this is like my favorite line from The Matrix. It's, I think, in the second or third, I can't remember which one it is, but Morpheus is up there and he's like, I feel truthfully unafraid, not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. And I think it gives a lot of spiritual strength that, because I got asked on an interview, they're like, how are you so certain? I was like, you talk about these things like with so much certainty. I was like, well, that's just how I've done it. Like, and it's that depth of experience and knowledge that like no one can question that we built those things. That's truth. Those are the real numbers. And so as long as you're not fudging your numbers, right? And you just say like, this is what it is, then of course you're certain, right? Because I think confidence is self-delusion. It's trying to make up for what you don't have evidence for. And I think it's a much easier practice to stop pretending and start doing the stuff that you should be certain about. And then you don't have to have bravado. You can get up, like, you can walk on stage and people are like, that guy built the biggest king and water empire out there. Nobody clones in the front. And he built that. He doesn't have to have confidence for people to listen to him. They will want to listen to everything that he says if that is what they want to do. Because they'll just go to the person that's done the thing that they want to do so that they don't have to apply a lot of effort in thinking and they can just say, I'll do everything this person says, right? Most people cannot separate information from source. So what we do is we just seek out good sources. I think wisdom is built through being able to take from separating information from source. A fool can give you a very wise piece of wisdom or information or a lesson, but it's much harder to do that. And so the shorthand for most of us is just go to somebody who's an absolute authority in this thing that has unquestionably a reason that I should listen to them, and then just listen to them. The downfall of that is that you start taking stock advice from your hairdresser. I'm not bashing hairdressers right now, that's just top of mind, right? And so you're like, I trust you. what else you got? And then they start talking about things that are not their expertise, and then that's when you get in trouble. And so to the same degree, if you probably have an audience that starts asking you questions, right? Anybody have an audience that asks them questions? Raise your hand. Okay. If someone asks you a question that is not something that you have authority on, I think you gain more authority by saying, I don't have authority to speak on that. And then you gain more respect, because this is what happens. Damaging admissions are the single greatest thing that build trust. If I say, I suck at marriage advice, I suck at giving happiness advice, I suck at whatever, but I'm really good at making high returns in the stock market, how much more believable is that than I make really good returns in the stock market, and I'm really good at marriage, and I'm and. When you admit your deficits, whatever comes after the admission of guilt or the admission of deficiency is believed more. So if I say, hey, I really suck at a lot of things, but you're going to believe whatever I say right here, that's a sentence structure for persuasion. And you can use that in all of the content that you have forever. It's also great for negotiating. And so, anyways, I say all this to say, it's the path that lies behind you, not the path that lies in front of you, that will give you the certainty that you want to gain the influence you desire. And so my evolution for me was fitness first, and I just talked about this is what's worked for me. People are like, Alex, how do you eat Twizzlers and cookies all day and have a six-pack? And I'm like, A, genetics, B, I live at a gym, and C, I eat this way. Right? And people were like, oh, so I can have cookies too and have a six-pack. And I was like, yes. And that was relevant for me. Some people are like super vegan superstars. Awesome. And they're going to talk about what's relevant for them. And the people who follow will be like, I vibe with that. Cool. Right? And so I'm not going to be the best nutrition expert in the world, but in terms of like my little fiefdom, I can rule that. Right? And then I moved up because I started doing well there. And people started asking me, hey, how are you growing your gym? I was like, well, this is how I grew my gym. They were like, well, what about business in general? I'm like, I don't know. I've never ran an e-commerce business. I don't know about manufacturing. I don't know about software. I don't know about any of that stuff. But I know how to grow a gym. So I only talked about that. And the amount of people that was relevant for, this many. But for that audience, everything. Right? I mean, and just for context here, there are riches and niches. Like, that company made a lot of money. Just saying, like it made a lot of money and it didn't make me famous at all. And so again, the question is, do you want to be rich? Do you want to be famous? Are you trying to serve you? Are you trying to serve the audience, right? And then the last one is like, now we've been able to leverage that initial success to build an e-commerce brand, to build a software brand, to sell those, and then now we have a portfolio. And so now, because we have businesses that span a lot of different areas, I can say, these are the frameworks that we use to build all of them. I hope this serves you. And then people can take that. And has anybody used any of the frameworks that for Mosey Nation, anybody who's been there, have anybody used those frameworks to make more money? One person. Whew, probably not. So a big part of that is that you just get better over time. And so I said this quote and it got shared a lot. It's like, you're not making as much money as you want because you're not as good as you think you are. I'm just being real. Like, I don't know, I could have done like here's my 17,000 content model, you know what I mean? But like, the real is that you're probably not that good yet, comma, and that's okay. Like, the only person beating you up is you, right? And so the only way to get better is volume. And the only way to get even better than volume is volume times time. Because volume, you can write this down, I don't have this in the presentation, but this is like the equation of life. Volume, or at least business. Volume times time equals skill. You got to do it a lot of times for a long period of time, and you will get better. That is a promise. You will, if you suck today, you will suck less tomorrow. And eventually, one day you will look up and suck so little that you will actually be good. And then people will ask you, how did you become an overnight success? And then instead of saying, here's how you cold call, you say, here's how I did it. I hope this serves you, right? And you can build that trust that way.
Olay is changing my shower game with 5 skincare benefits. Olay Super Serum Body Wash. File claims with a tap. It's about time insurance does that. Get a quote at lemonade.com.
That trust that way. Great, Alex. So how do I make money if I'm just starting out? Fantastic. All right, Colton. Jeez, always about the money. Okay, I'm kidding. Colton's awesome. So here's a couple observations here. Give away the secrets, sell the implementation. All right? If you want to build an enterprise that is valuable, this is how you do it. You can sell info. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to build a brand, give away the secrets, sell the implementation. All right? Because people are like, you can give the whole farm away. People still won't do it. 1% of people will do it. My business model relies on the 1% who do it. You know what I mean? So like, I bank on that. But only 1% are going to do it. So most people need help. Most people need encouragement. Most people need accountability. Most people need somebody who's going to act as their virtual Google because they don't want to type it in. It's true, right? And so one of the side notes that I have here is that if you're not afraid of what you're giving away, that you're giving away too much, you're not giving away enough. And so every time I've written a book or I've made like a presentation that ends up going live, I always think to myself like, oh God, I'm sharing everything. What will they do? They won't need me anymore because I give them this information. They'll just keep living their lives and I will become obscure and nothing and I will die, right? That is what it feels like. I mean, you catastrophize. But that's real, right? It's the opposite though, right? And there's so many things I feel like that I've at least realized for me is a lot of things are the opposite of what you expect. It's like you only gain your life by giving it, right? Like you only get trust from others by trusting first. You only get value back by giving value first. And so if you're afraid of giving away all the secrets that you have, I promise you, if you make content that does not contain the secrets, 99% of people who are the people who are never going to pay you anyways, 99% of people will just think you suck because you give nothing. So you just make fluff because you're so afraid of giving good stuff away. The thing that most people consume is they consume one video and they make a judgment and say, I will never consume a video from this person again. What a waste of time. And so like my big fear with every piece of content is I would rather make fewer pieces of content because I'm so afraid of somebody taking 20 minutes to consume something after watching a bunch of my stuff, watching that one and not actively deciding to stop watching, but just don't get enough for the time that they're like, I'll just watch something else. They don't say like, oh, they just pivot a little bit and slowly you fade away. And so I would rather have quality over quantity, but quantity beats just quality, right? But I would personally, this is me, I would personally prefer to have better stuff and give away as many secrets as I possibly can to get people to start taking steps towards you. Because what also happens is if someone goes and uses stuff from the YouTube channel and grows from $1 million a year to $3 million a year or $5 million a year, they don't have questions on whether or not we can provide value because we already have, right? And then it makes the sales process dramatically easier because you say, what brought you here today? And they're like, well, you made me $2 million a year. I love you. And you're like, awesome. Want to get to 10? And they're like, sure. Like, how do I know it's going to work? Because it already has, right? And you can take that as a totally different frame for the sale, okay? And so make your free materials better than everyone else's paid materials. I heard this from Tony Robbins, and I think it's really true. But I think the real is that most of your stuff is not better than their paid stuff. And so that's why it doesn't work. And so talk about what you really know, which is your specialty, which is your individual thing that you have experienced that no one can challenge. Your truth, all right? And so finally, you want to play games where if you wait, you win. Because goodwill compounds faster than money. Because the longer you can delay the ask, the bigger the ask can be. The longer the runway, the bigger the plane that can take off of it. And so I promise you, and this is, again, gigantic Himalayan grain of salt, with the limited experience that I have, doing organic, because I've only done direct to jugular, paid ads, cold calling, affiliate stuff, straight pitching. I've only done that. But I can say that this brand is very special to me because I enjoy what we're building and I'm in no rush to do it. And you have time. And so the longer you can wait and keep walking with people, the longer the compounding works in your favor. Like, it's no coincidence that the biggest people in the business space don't need anything from their audiences, right? Because I think that compounding process gets interrupted when you do a hard pitch. That's my opinion. I could be wrong, but that's my opinion. And so the idea is, how can we sell without selling, right? And I think in that way, the compounding will happen faster than the revenue would have otherwise increased if you started trying to make the money fast. And so the longer you can delay that, the better it's gonna be, and then you can understand why all these guys play the infinite game of never even wanting to do that right hook, because it's like, but next year I'm gonna have 5 times the audience. And then a year later, they're like, but next year I'm gonna have 5 times the audience, right? Because as soon as you shoot your shot, you dramatically decrease the goodwill. And so I think that I've at least adapted, and this is maybe just a different way of saying it. I know Gary's got jab, 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 right hook. Just a personal observation that I've had is that you can go give, 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 get. You don't even have to ask. People just start handing things to you. Because if you deposit enough goodwill in there, it just starts coming back. And I know that sounds crazy, but like the amount of people that DM me are like, hey man, can I give you 10 grand for 10 minutes? And I'm like, no, I don't do that. It's like, how about 20 grand? I'm like, no, I don't do that. Right? The amount of times people inbound and they're like, hey, can I have you on my podcast? Can I have you on my stage? All these things start happening because you're not asking for anything. And it makes people feel uncomfortable. It makes people feel really uncomfortable. They're like, how can I buy something from you? And you're like, you can't. They're like, ah. And I'm like, use the get to 3 million, then we can partner, right? But that's it. You know what I mean? There's nothing else. And so I think that if we can make that pivot and have that patience, but like, if we're thinking really big picture, the reason most people aren't successful is they just can't control themselves. Like, that's it. It's impulse control. And so there's 3 things. They did this research study that said that ultra successful people have 3 common traits. Number 1 is they have a superiority complex. They think they're better than everybody. They think they can do bigger things. Second is that they have crippling insecurity of not being enough. I like that one, hits me. And then the third one is impulse control. So they know where they want to go. They have a way drive to not be a failure, and they stay focused on it because of impulse control. And so the idea here is, if we can do that, we will be more successful. And the reason that most people don't make money is because they can't wait 12 months. Like, I have this 18-year-old who was my neighbor, and I said, I'm going to have you sign a contract that says, I want to be a millionaire. I was like, you got to wait 5 years. And you can't make any money between now and then. Would you do it? He was like, yeah, I would do it. Every single person can do that. I guarantee you, if you delayed for 5 years and you just provided value to people for 5 years, you'd have a bigger audience than you knew what to do with, and you'd be a millionaire in 5 years. It'd probably happen a lot faster than that. But if you committed to doing it for 5 years, you would. But guess what? No one's going to do it. And that's why most people aren't successful. And so, like, we come to these events and you have the models and all the stuff, right? But people still eat cookies when they're trying to lose weight. And so it's a concept of local versus global, which is there's a local benefit to eating cookies. You feel better, whatever. The global benefit goes down, though, because you don't get the six-pack you want. If that's the goal and you're counting macros, you get the idea, right? And so most people cannot sacrifice local benefit for global. The sales guys don't want to put the notes in the CRM, even though that benefits the entire organization, because it's a local cost, right? And so, as a side note for operations for a business, operations are supposed to bring global benefit in excess of the local cost. And so, when we're trying to achieve the things that you're trying to do, right, the local benefit is just make the ask fast. The global benefit is the longer you can wait, the bigger it can be. And so for me, I'm like, why not wait as long as humanly possible? So I'll wrap this up. Speak from strength. Share your experiences to add to the body of knowledge. The problem with a lot of the social media stuff and books that are out there now is that the barrier to entry in terms of what it takes to publish content is so low, it's almost not visible, right? So low. And so everybody can produce content. Back in the day, the only way you produce content was like after 30 years of being a researcher, you're like, this is my entire life's work in one book so I can add to the body of knowledge. People are like, wow, thank you for that. And that's how content was made, right? And if you wanted to do a direct, a marketing piece, you had to edit it and put it on a piece of paper and look at it every single way and know that you're going to pay 50 cents for every single person who's going to receive it, and you better be damn sure it's beautiful, right? But people don't want, like, it's so easy now to publish that most stuff is shit, right? Most stuff sucks and is a total waste of time. So just try and talk about the stuff that's not a waste of time that you actually know, so you can add to the body of knowledge. If you say, hey, this is what I did, consider yourself a mini researcher. You're like, these are the experiments I ran in my business. These are the experiments I ran in my weight loss clinic. These are the experiments I ran in my plumbing business. Just talk about the experience, because no one can question that. Second is that teaching on principles is difficult until you've achieved a material amount in the field, because there are others who will teach it with more depth of experience. It's very difficult to teach business unless you're very successful at business, because there's just another person who someone will listen to more, right? But no one can question what you have done. And if you have done nothing, then do something first and then talk about it. Because not everyone is an expert on everything, but you are unquestionably an expert on your own life, so you can share it, all right? And then wait 10 years.
Well, I hope you got value out of the part 2 and the entire series with the best entrepreneur right now for me, Alex Hormozi. I'm so inspired by seeing how he said, it wasn't really about the camera equipment. It was about the quality of the content he was doing. That was such an impact and aha moment that I hope that you got from it. And if you like content like this, then you definitely want to go to 21videotips.com, where you're going to get 21 amazing tips from entrepreneurs like Patrick Bet-David, Vanessa Lau, Pat Flynn, and so many more. Also, Alex Hormozi's in there as well, where you're going to be learning some of their little-known business secrets. And inside of this resource, we're giving you a downloadable guide that goes along with it to help you get impact right away. So go to 21videotips.com right now to get that free resource and this incredible video that has 21 amazing tips from special guests just like this. Now, if you've not yet rated and reviewed this show, I'm going to encourage you to do that also. This is where you can go to Apple Podcasts and leave a rating and review. 5 stars, please, is what I'm asking for. No, you can rate whatever you want, but this is where we get to share one of our Think Fam members, and we are doing an international series. And so today comes from Inverted Popes from the UK, I believe. The truth at last, always great, insightful podcasts, and love listening to them. Today, this podcast was gold. For the first time, I heard exactly what needs to be said and rarely is. Well, thank you, Inverted Popes, for leaving that review. Thank you for being one of our international listeners and sharing this podcast with other people just like you. Now, if you know someone in your life who needs the information that you just got from this series, I'm going to encourage you to share it with them. Send them a text, tweet it out, whatever you need to do to get this into the hands of people that you know need it. Definitely do that now. Well, thank you so much for being a part of what we're doing here at Think Media. So grateful for you for leaving those reviews, for watching, and for subscribing over on YouTube and on the podcast. And we will catch you in the next episode. Bye.
Push that. Pump that. Work that. Push that. Work out.
Sleeping on this $3 medium Dunkin' Refresher. Strawberry dragon fruit is delicious.
Good news, YouTube is healthy, growing, and the most profitable channel to establish your brand. But short form video is coming for the throne. 60% of all videos published on the internet in 2020 were under 2 minutes long. So here's the bad news. Those who ignore short form video will suffer the consequences.
Welcome to the Think Media Podcast. My name is Heather Torres, the host of this show, where we want to help you grow your influence on YouTube and then turn that influence into a high income and a high impact online business. And if you're brand new to the show and today's your first episode, we want to welcome you to the Think Media fam. Every single Tuesday, we release a brand new episode. So make sure you're locked in and subscribed wherever you like to listen to your content on. Now, today is exciting because we're going to be jumping into a two-part series. We're kind of pulling back the curtain to one of the keynote sessions at our conference, Grow with Video Live. Now, this conference was sold out, and this content you're getting today is not released anywhere else. So make sure you're locked in here for this episode and the following episode so you can get all of this keynote. Now, today we're walking through a keynote from our founder and CEO of Think Media, Sean Cannell. He's the best-selling author of the book YouTube Secrets. He's my co-host here on the Think Media show. And this keynote, I would say, is one of the best he's delivered. In this episode, we're going to walk through some of the big social media trends that you need to be aware of. And as we know, there are challenges for content creators. But in this episode, we're going to be sharing with you, when you know the right tools and the right strategies, how you can be winning online. So stay locked here with your pen, your notepad. If you're driving, turn the volume up because you need to listen. And let's get into our first part of this session.
In this training, we're going to talk about the 4 business and marketing trends that you need to know. This is like the online video State of the Union. We're going to talk about the huge opportunity and major challenges that you must overcome right now. We're going to talk about how to kill overwhelm and create profitable content in less time. And we're going to talk about how to eliminate time wasters and get laser focused on the right things that actually grow your business and generate cash. And so let's dive into these 4 business and marketing trends. You know, a lot's happened in the last couple years. This is some new data and some new stats, and I have 4 of them. And the first one is this: video is king. It's good news that you're at Grow with Video. Video is king. And you know, this is confirmed. This is what Forbes said. In 2022, video is where we all need to be. Look at the person next to you and say, you're right where you need to be. This is what Forbes said. This is true. Listen to this. In 2022, 82% of global internet traffic will come from video streaming and downloads. Video is king. Now, this stat right here, 500 hours of video content is being uploaded to YouTube every minute in 2022. And here's the thing, as we go through these trends, I actually have, we're gonna be identifying some good news. We're also gonna be talking about some bad news. Because I hope you get hyped at this conference. You know, I hope that, you know, oh, we're gonna get on an emotional high. It's a conference, cool. And I actually love that. I'm ready to dance and party with the best of them. But I actually wanna give you solid substance, and we need to face reality. That's what leaders do. They face reality, but with unshakable optimism. And so we're gonna talk about some of the good news and the bad news. And 500 hours of video content being uploaded to YouTube every minute in 2022 is actually kind of bad news, all right? This is the truth. Competition continues to increase. And I know you feel it. It's a 2022 world. It's harder to stand out than it ever has been before. But here's the good news. The demand for good content is skyrocketing. Let me prove it to you. The average hours of online video watch per week. If you're watching online, look at the screen. If you're in the room, look at the screen. Notice how since 2018 to 2022, every year it goes up. And this is an average across all humans, that every year more people are watching more content. So even though there's more competition, there's more demand. And listen to this, the demand for video content is increasing. 54% of consumers want to see more video content from a brand or a business that they support. And so people want you to be creating video. But here's the second trend. YouTube is ruling the kingdom. Yeah. 2.3 billion monthly active users are on YouTube right now, and YouTube is still the king of the hill in the video world. However, here's the big 3, and here's the data. Number 1, it's YouTube. Number 2, it's Instagram. And number 3, it's TikTok. 4, the share of digital video consumption. And so you can look, Snapchat is still a major player for the younger generation, and Facebook is still in the game a little bit, but YouTube is definitely the leader. Here's the good news. YouTube is healthy, growing, and the most profitable channel to establish your brand. But trend number 3, short form video is coming for the throne. And there's some competitors that are pretty close to YouTube right now. 60% of all videos published on the internet in 2020 were under 2 minutes long. Who here is creating short form content? Wave at me, raise your hand. Awesome, awesome. Yeah, and TikTok users now spend more time on TikTok than on Instagram and Facebook. It's something around 36 minutes a day. Facebook video consumption is like 32 minutes. And so TikTok has just been exploding. In fact, 40% of Gen Z spends more than 3 hours a day on TikTok. Wow. Parents are like, oh shoot, that's what my kids are doing. That's 3 hours a day, dude. That's like a long time. That's a lot of TikTok, especially anybody TikTok watchers here, especially like you're in that feed, they're 10 seconds each, like you're just droning on, just TikTok, TikTok. So what's happening, man. And this is big news that TikTok just announced. TikTok is exploring their first program of sharing ad money with some creators. And they're actually gonna be paying 50% of the money generated from some advertising right now to top creators and creators that have over 100,000 followers. But this just shows us that TikTok is gunning for YouTube. Everybody, this is Game of Thrones, man. Everyone's fighting to be king of the hill. Do I think that YouTube is threatened? No, but I think it's important that we pay attention to what is happening on this platform and these other platforms. And here's the key stat. The percentage of young US digital video viewers who watch video on Instagram and TikTok is within shouting distance of YouTube. So here's the bad news. Those who ignore short form video will suffer the consequences.
Fix up! We're trapped by dishes!
Don't worry, they've got new Dawn Power Suds. It traps, locks, and removes 99% of grease, so it doesn't get passed from dish to dish.
Ooh, clean and stacked.
Like ducks in a row, new Dawn Power Suds.
A shade that serves your skin. New Venus Moisture Glide. Bars with argan oil. Lock moisture in.
It's true. Listen, I'm still all for long form. I think long form is where the impact is. And we're going to be exploring all of these at this event, but we have to be embracing short form. In fact, the good news is those who embrace short form video will multiply their impact. Here's what we've been doing at Think Media. You know, some people call me a boomer. I'm actually a millennial, but as my beard started to get a little bit gray, you know, I don't know if you ever read your, you know, comments. You should probably avoid your comments just on the internet. They're kind of a dumpster fire, right? You get somebody telling me just like, they're just like, dude, why do you have the face of a boy, but the beard of an old man? Literally, this is every day, you know? Thanks, I really needed to wake up hearing that, right? And so I'll be honest with you, you know, I now have been doing this, it's crazy, I've been doing video for over 20 years. I started for my local church in 2003. And so it could be easy to get set in our ways. And I want to talk to us, if you've been doing it a certain way, you know, it's like, oh yeah, YouTube's my jam or whatever is my jam, Facebook is my jam, and it's all cool. But sometimes I'm to the place where I'm like, man, I got to learn a new thing. Man, I got to start a new platform, really? Really? You know, and I never thought I'd be that guy, you know, but now I'm kind of like, I'm just like, I know YouTube, like, do I want to do this TikTok thing? And so thank God that Steph DeSelvo joined the Think Media team. He's one of our editors. He's all into, you know, NFTs. In fact, Gary's going to be here tomorrow night. Steph just got back from VCon. And he started a TikTok. He didn't even tell me. Like just unsanctioned activity happening at Think Media. It's anarchy here. Like, I mean, it looks like we have it all together when, you know, maybe from the internet, it's crazy. And so he just starts a TikTok. I don't even know the login to our own TikTok, right? And literally from just repurposing, check it out, repurposing our long form videos into short form videos. In a few short months, we've grown to over 41,000 followers in TikTok. like just organic reach. Now, you could do this a lot better. After lunch, we're gonna be learning better strategies than this. But here's kind of the lesson. I want to encourage you, whether you kind of feel like you're ready to learn new things or you feel kind of settled, we gotta be open to new possibilities. We gotta be open to reinventing ourselves. We got to be open to adapting our strategies. And I know that's why you're here, but short form, it gives us a major opportunity. We started posting some of these same repurposed videos on my Instagram Reels, and they're getting between 2 to 50,000 views. But here's the really cool thing. YouTube Shorts. YouTube Shorts, a lot of us probably know about it, but it's a brand new, right, offering that YouTube has put out there to compete with other short form platforms like TikTok and Instagram, and the fact that you could also do Facebook Reels, and LinkedIn's adding Reels, and my beard's getting grayer as I think about every platform we need to, but YouTube Shorts receive 15 billion views daily. So here's all we do. We actually make vertical videos and we spread them across YouTube Shorts, TikTok, and Instagram, and we use them in multiple places. In fact, one of the biggest strategies we're gonna be talking about is how you can work smarter and not just harder. How you can have a better system and have processes to help you ultimately distribute your content with less stress and less overwhelm. But this brings us to trend number 4, and it's this. The digital gold rush is here. The digital gold rush is here. Signal Fire released a report on the creator economy, and they discovered this, that being a content creator is actually the fastest growing type of small business. That's crazy. I remember I grew up in a small town. I grew up in Marysville, Washington, Arlington, Washington, an hour north of Seattle. And I remember I would go to Subway. Anybody love Subway? Come on, give me one of those meatball subs. Come on, just packed with, it's not even real meatballs, you know? It's packed with sugar, you know, just the bread. Okay, you know you can open like a Subway franchise. It's like a type of small business. You can start a franchise. And think about that. Maybe you go get a small business loan, right? You go down to the bank. Maybe you open a coffee shop. If you come from the Northwest, you probably like coffee. Starbucks, we got coffee, espresso stands on every corner. And in fact, I met my beautiful wife, Sonia. She's a Starbucks barista. Yeah. And so you can think about, you open up a coffee shop. You maybe have to lease some space, buy some signage, hire a team. You have to, get the register, get the coffee. And the average small business, right, is not profitable for 16 to 24 or even 36 months. This is what it means to be an entrepreneur and start a business. Well, we are living in an era now where you could start a business from home as a creator, where you could start an online business. And this is now a fact that starting a creator-based business is the fastest growing type of small business. Influencer Marketing Hub revealed that 2 million global content creators make 6 figures right now. 2 million. And Forbes predicts this, and this is good news that you came to Grow a Video Live or that you're joining us online, is this report that they wrote about the creator economy, that over the next 7 months in 2022, they predict that there's gonna be 5x growth in the market size of the creator economy. Over the next 6 months. So where you're sitting right now is absolutely incredible, because if you get this information and you take action on this, like there's a wave coming. This isn't hype. Right now, the creator economy is valued at $2 billion with estimations that it could grow to over $104 billion by the end of the year. Man, it's time to get positioned. Man, it's time to get focused. Man, it's time to get your game right, your strategy on. Come on, your mind right, your mindset right, your content strategy dialed in. 5x growth. You're not gonna get 5x growth in the stock market right now. You just got 5x loss in your Bitcoin account. Come on, it's time to lean into the creator economy, right? But here's one of the facts that was kind of startling. 2 million people, 200 million people are actually earning money from digital content creation. 200 million have earned money. The internet has sent them money via wire transfer, check in the mail, or connecting their AdSense account in whatever way you're getting your money from Amazon Associates or your e-commerce Stripe account, like whatever. 200 million, but here's the bad news. 68% of part-time creators earn less than $1,000. But here's the good news. With the right skills, strategies, and business model, you can thrive. And if you've earned $1 online, even if you haven't earned $1 yet, the good news, especially though if you've earned $1, is we can turn that into 10. And then we could turn that into 1,000. And then we could turn that into 1,000 a month and 10,000 a month. And whatever goal, because with the right skills that you're gonna learn, the strategies and business model, you can thrive.
Push that. Work that. Work that. Push that. Work out.
Could win $50,000 and enter summer mode. Scan the Ritz Sunkiss pack for a chance to win $50K.
Well, I hope that you got value out of the first part of this session. And in the next episode, we're going to be diving into even more. We're going to be giving you 2 questions that Sean asks that are going to really help unlock the next phase of your YouTube journey. Now, if you didn't hear, you can go to 21videotips.com. That's your next move if you want to get more information on video marketing just like this. We had some incredible speakers like Patrick Bet-David and Alex Hormozi sharing some of their most valuable tips that they've not shared anywhere else. And you can get all of that and more inside of the 21videotips.com. So go there right now to get your free downloadable resource and that entire free masterclass. Now, every single week, we love to shout out someone from our Think Media community. And normally we read your reviews that you leave over on Apple iTunes. But did you know that our podcast is actually featured over on YouTube as well? We release a brand new episode every single Tuesday, but we have exclusive content that's only available over on the YouTube channel. So if you've not been there yet, I want to encourage you to go there also. Today comes from Ukulele Zen, a comment left on a recent episode with Omar Altakori and Nolan Molt from the Think Media team. And he said, "This is a great episode. Omar and Nolan would be wonderful to have again. Thanks for all you're doing to help content creators around the world." Well, Ukulele Zen, thank you for leaving that comment. And thank you for letting us know that you liked that format with other content creators here on the podcast. And I assume that Omar and Nolan will come back at some point here on the show. Thank you so much for being a part of what we're doing here at Think Media. We're so encouraged by reading your comments on the YouTube channel and your reviews over on Apple Podcasts. It means the world to me that you would take just a moment out of your day to let us know that this free content is helping you. Thanks so much for listening, and make sure you tune in for the next episode so you can get the second half of this amazing keynote. We'll see you soon.
My friends, is the system that changed my life. This is the system I started to follow 10 years ago. Wasn't sexy at the time, but I just started to do the steps and do the work and implement the habits and the daily routines.
Welcome to the Think Media podcast. My name is Heather Torres, the host of this show, and here we want to help you grow your influence on YouTube and then turn that influence into a high impact and a high income online business. And today I'm excited because we're going to be breaking down our 7-step system for success on YouTube. Now, if you were not tuned in to our last episode, that was part 1 of this 2-part series. And I really recommend that you listen to that one first. So maybe go back, listen, and then come back to this episode. But if you're already caught up and ready to go, then you are in the right place. So make sure you have a pen and paper ready, because we're diving into how to help you get fierce clarity on this next season for you in your YouTube journey and really in your whole online business. So lean in. It's time to get into the second part of this keynote from Sean Cannell.
This is what natural tastes like. This is what natural sounds like. This is what natural looks like. Grass-fed butter comes from here on the west coast of New Zealand's South Island. Get a taste of it, salted or unsalted, but always natural.
So I asked this question in light of these 4 trends. Ultimately, there's so much opportunity. It's a real gold rush. People are crushing it, but what's the difference between those that are crushing it and thriving and those that are struggling ultimately online? And what I found out that there's multiple different ways you can solve a problem. We got problems. How am I going to create all this content? We got problems. How am I going to, start making videos when I got other stuff to do in my life? I got maybe work. I got kids. We got problems. And when it comes to solving problems, there's some good solutions. Some solutions are not as good or bad, and some solutions are absolutely terrible. Right? Just because we have a problem, people approach it different ways. So we need to figure out what's the best way to really crush it with online video. But the truth is, the reason a lot are struggling is because they're going about it the wrong way. And so I actually want to look at a couple different ways to solve problems, and you tell me if it's a good idea or a terrible idea. Here's one. This is the clothes hanger muffler fix. I mean, that's a way to solve the problem, like ultimately, right? I mean, I don't know, that's one. How about the duct tape drink holder? Genius. I mean, it looks like it's working. It maybe solves the problem of holding your drink, but it doesn't solve the problem of impressing your date. I don't know. I mean, how about the duct tape hammock? Would you trust that? Would you trust that? How about the wife beater baby carrier? This is a great idea. I got another boy on the way, and that's smart. That's great. How about the fan leaf blower? There's different ways to solve problems. I mean, this is a conference about innovation. You got to get creative, right? What about the $2 spoiler? Here's one. This is the flat screen TV installation. This is a way to solve the problem. I mean, all you got to do, easy, right? The funny thing is, Gen Zers in the room, they don't even know, why is the TV that big? I grew up, I had this Sony Wega flat screen but glass TV. It weighed 2,000 pounds. It was 27 inches. You remember that? You carry it, you break it, it's done. It just absolutely shatters, right? And so here's the thing. I've stumbled now over the years on a better way to get consistent results with video. We all kind of have the same problems, honestly. We're trying to figure out how to create content, but some are going to solve them well and some not as well. And honestly, what I've discovered is not just a better way to get consistent results in life and video, but this will apply to business and life. And I found it in this book called Atomic Habits. Anybody read this book? Man, great book. And here's the big aha moment for me. That those who struggle, they focus on goals. But those who win, they focus on systems. They focus on systems. I'll come back to that, but listen. See, your goal is a desired income, but your system is the collection of daily habits that'll get you there. All right? And so, ultimately, the problem with goals is this. Problem number one is that winners and losers both have goals. If you think about it, I can imagine maybe some of our goals in this room. What's your goal in this room? Oh, I want to get 1 million subscribers. I want to get that silver play button. I want to get Gary Vee on my podcast. Right? We have the same goals. Well, goals are good, but winners and losers have the same goals. But when you have a system is the habits and the routines and the things we're going to learn at this conference that gets you to the goal. A goal is good, but a system is better. The thing too with a goal is a momentary change. And here's some good news and kind of some bad news about online video. I'm not asking you to just do one thing for a little while, get some subscribers, and then you can focus on the next thing. This has to become a lifestyle. This is the new world. The new world is you got to embrace content creation. You got to find a way to incorporate it in your daily routines. If you're looking I'm going to do a little video sprint and then just let the results happen. No, this is a way of life, of online marketing, of building your business, of getting comfortable on camera, of creating content consistently. That's why we need a system. And that might sound overwhelming, but the system actually will reduce stress and will reduce overwhelm. Here's problem 3 with goals is they actually are at odds with long-term progress. If you're too preoccupied with goals, it's just pie in the sky. But if we actually just look at the simple, small steps and work the system, then one day we look up and all of a sudden it's like, dang, dude, man, we're throwing a conference and some people actually showed up. Because honestly, for me, I've just been working the system. And James Clear said this: you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. See, friend, the secret is the system. The secret is the system. If you want to kill overwhelm and create profitable content in less time, you need a system. If you want to eliminate time wasters, we're not just here to just make a bunch of videos like you don't have other things to do. We're not just here to just spend all of our time online so you have no time with your family. We're here to create a system and create routines and habits of content creation that lead us to our financial goals and our legacy goals and our family goals. You need a system. This, my friends, is the system that changed my life. This is the system I started to follow 10 years ago. Wasn't sexy at the time, but I just started to do the steps and do the work and implement the habits and the daily routines and video after video, upload after upload. It was 10 subscribers, 7 views. You gotta respect that 7 view life. You know? You gotta respect that upload. It took you 7 hours to edit the video, and you got 7 views. And you're like, I don't know if this is worth my time. But it kind of sounds like for me, last time I went to the gym for an hour, which I haven't been to the gym for an hour in a really long time. Therefore, I haven't been getting the results. That when you first go, like the results don't show up immediately, but as you start working the system, today, Think Media, 2 million subscribers, we've just been working the system. Today, thousands of our students are succeeding just working the system.
Well, I hope you are enjoying today's session. And I wanted to let you know that if you are loving content like this, then you definitely need to go to 21videotips.com, where you can actually get 21 more video marketing tips just like this from industry experts like Patrick Bet-David, Vanessa Lau, Pat Flynn, and Alex Hermosi, and so many amazing video marketers of our day. They're sharing their best kept business building secrets inside of this masterclass and free downloadable guide. So just head over to 21videotips.com to get instant access for free and learn how you can level up your business and brand. That's 21videotips.com. Now let's get back into today's content.
The first step is reverse engineer. You got to start with the end in mind. I'm going to go fast. We will keep hitting it throughout the conference. Reverse engineer, start with the end in mind. Who's your channel actually for? Like, what are you even doing? Like, what is the vision and the goal of your channel? Then we do research. What's trending in my niche right now? What's trending in real estate? What's trending in personal finance? What's trending in coaching? What is on people's mind? What's trending in culture or keyword research? We get clear that we're actually making the right videos. Then we've got to record the video, and we want to record a video that's going to keep people's attention. Then you got to release the video the right way. And here's what I learned. This system, I started out on YouTube, but I was like, wow, this system actually is the same for social media, all the platforms. Start with the end in mind. Get clear on what your video idea is. Record a great video. Release it the right way. Does that include hashtags? How's it titled? Does it have a compelling reason to click? Thumbnail? What's the first few seconds? What's the frame? Like, is it released in the right way according to the best practices of the platform? Then rocket your video to success. So for every video, the daily discipline, the habit, the weekly discipline is ultimately rocket the video, share it out on social media, post that video on your community tab. Can you get someone to collaborate with on that video? You got an email list? Send it to your email list. Then review. Sometimes this isn't the funnest part, but it's probably the most important part, because what gets measured gets improved. This is where when you get obsessed with analytics, you get obsessed with your insights, you get obsessed with looking at your Facebook page insights and studying what worked so you can get 1% better with every upload and improve next time. And then it's about repurpose and repeat. Now it's about thinking about, okay, I made this video, but how can I actually use this potentially in multiple places? And how can I begin again more intelligently next time I upload content? And so we're going to kick it off today just by starting with reverse engineer, which is start with the end in mind. best practice in anything is before you start to think about where do you want to go. Now, honestly, on reverse engineer, here's a couple questions. It's like, who am I trying to reach online? What problem does my content and business solve? And how am I going to make money? And I know I'm going fast, but that's actually not what I want to talk about with reverse engineer. I actually want to take it a little bit deeper and ask this question. What do you want? Like, what do you want?
You have reviewed the CBC, interpreted the CMP, analyzed the ECG. Everything's within range. As a Navy doctor, you've assessed vitals and cleared red flags. A SEAL returned to duty, a submariner fit for the depths. Here, medicine makes the mission. Navy medicine lets you focus on patients who protect us all, while we focus on administrative hassles and even cover your medical school loans. Start your mission at Navy.com/medicine. America's Navy, forged by the sea.
Sean, that's a, what do you mean? So kind of, what do you want? For lunch? For my birthday? I mean, since you're asking, I mean, maybe a new car? I mean, no. I mean, like, what do you want? And I want you to actually journal a little bit right now and write down some things. What do you want? The funny thing in this hyper world of social media and online video growth and kind of like looking at what everybody else is doing, sometimes we start to mirror what we see online and we don't even know why we're doing it. Like, we're just like, I don't know, I'm just trying to grow, I'm trying to get subscribers. Why? I don't know, I'm trying to do what Gary Vee told me to do. That's great, but like, why? Like, what do you want? Start writing it down, deeper stuff. Like, what do you want in life? And how can online video help you get there? Can we go deep? And I would love if we could journal a little bit. Like, what do you want in your business? Like, what's the clear end destination that you want to reach so that we can reverse engineer a plan backward to get there? And I remember when I felt the full impact of this question back in 2009, when my wife almost died. She was in the hospital for 6 days, recovering from almost a fatal accident when she had a feeding tube from having a chronic illness. And ultimately, it was placed wrong, so the liquid started to fill up her body cavity, which will suffocate your organs and it'll kill you quick. So we rushed her to the hospital, and I found myself by my wife's side for 6 days, really thinking about some heavy questions, battling fear, battling depression. And here's the crazy thing about 2009, was that at this exact same time, we were getting crushed by the Big Short and the economic crash and the recession. We're losing our home. We're losing a rental property. And I was part-time staff at a church, and some senior leaders stole some money, and there was a toxic leadership culture, and the whole thing started to fall apart. So now I find myself by my wife's side in that hospital room, and I literally actually felt God asking me a question like, what do you want? Like, because I actually learned what psychologists say. I came to a moment where I started to think about a lot deeper life questions. Psychologists call it mortality motivation. And friend, I actually want to encourage you, in the last 2 years, the whole world has been given this gift. Because in the last 2 years, we started to think like, dude, we might die. Well, actually, here's the truth. We are gonna die, right? And so I started to have this question of like, man, what do I want? And I'll be honest with you, like the Sean I was in that hospital room obviously was not the Sean I am standing on this stage today. I wasn't super pumped about the man I was. I was allowing my wife, who was sick, to work multiple jobs. I was insecure because I didn't know how to make money and take care of my family. And I was scared. And so I honestly felt God asking me this question like, Sean, like, what do you want? And all of a sudden my perspective was different. It was like, man, I want a way to work from home. Like, I want to love my wife better. I want to be a better leader than the example of some of the leaders that had let me down. Like, I want to figure this thing out. Like, I don't know how, but like, But I want to be around people that are going to inspire me and that are going to be visionary and that are going to be faith-filled. Like, I want to be a better man. I want to impact people. I want to teach. I want to make a difference. I want to make memories with my wife because I don't know that if we'll ever see tomorrow. All we ever have is today. And man, this happened so young in our life. We got married at 21. She got sick at 23. We're in the hospital. We're 27-year-olds. And we're having these kind of questions like, man, what do we really want? What are we going to do? And here's what's surprising. If you ask a lot of leaders, like, what do you actually want? They can't give you a clear answer. I don't blame you because not a lot of times do we think this deeply, right? Like, where are you going? Where do you want to go? And here's what I want to ask you. Like, what do you ultimately want? Reverse engineer. What do you want for your family? What do you want for your business? What kind of impact do you want to make on this world? Let me ask you this. Who do you want to be? Seriously, like future cast, like who do you want to be? Reverse engineer. Let me ask you this. Who do you need to become in order to reach that vision that you have? Because the Sean that was in that hospital room was not there yet, and I had to change some things, get some help, get some coaching. I had to go through a process. Who do you need to be? But there's a second question as we land the plane that we have to answer, and it's, what do you have? What do you have? And I felt like those are the two questions, because as I'm sitting in this hospital room and I start thinking about what do I want, then it's like God's asking me, like, what do you have? And I've noticed that there's 3 ways to answer this question, and 2 of them are not very helpful. The first way you can answer this question, the question is not, what do you not have? Right? What do you have? And you go, well, Sean, I don't have much money. Okay. No, like, what do you have? Well, I don't have a fancy camera. If I had a fancy camera, like, okay, I mean, chill, but like, what do you have? Well, I don't have a time. I don't got a team. Well, and no, the question is not what do you not have, right? The question is what do you have? And I want you to brainstorm, because here's the truth. It is not about your resources. It is about your resourcefulness. But here's the second way you can answer the question. It's not what do you have that sucks, right? Well, I'll tell you what I have. I got a bunch of debt. Cool. All right. I mean, you know. Well, I'll tell you what I have. I actually do have some employees, and they suck. If I had some good ones. What do you have? Some single people are like, well, I don't have a spouse yet. Some married people are like, well, I do got a spouse, and they suck. Too real?
When was the last time you took a break? Sad desk lunches don't revitalize us.
We all deserve a moment to recharge and revitalize ourselves.
Tea break!
Let's make tea breaks happen!
It's time for a tea break. It's time for a Pure Leaf.
Rogaine. Keep your head in the game.
Too real? This is called the grass is greener mentality, right? And I've learned this. The grass is not greener, though, on the other side. The grass is greener where you water it. So what do you have?
Imagination.
That's right. You got it. What else? Your voice. What else? Knowledge. Creativity. A message. An iPhone, that's right. Yeah. What do you have? You got the ability to learn. Come on, you have the tenacity to never quit. What do you have? I want you to write that down, because reverse engineer is about auditing your resources. How am I going to use what I have today, be faithful with what I have today, so that I can ultimately step into what God has for me tomorrow and the future of my business.
Well, I hope that you enjoyed this two-part series, and I would love to know what your aha moment was if you are watching over on YouTube, or if you want to rate and review this show, you can do that over on Apple Podcasts, and let us know if you like content like this. And if you have not already been to 21videotips.com, I highly recommend that be the next place you go after listening to this episode. If you want to be learning some of the latest little known secrets in video marketing from experts like Alex Ramosi, Patrick Bet-David, Vanessa Lau, and so many more, then you want to make sure that you go to 21videotips.com for our brand new free resource for you. There's a masterclass as well as a downloadable guide to help walk you through some of the secrets that have never been shared before. Well, thank you so much for being a part of what we're doing here at Think Media. We have so many great episodes in store for you, so make sure you stay locked here for every single Tuesday's drop, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Say something that is probably really bad to say, considering I'm a business coach and I teach people, with courses and things every day. But we have an epidemic of people just wanting to learn more and not actually do things. There has to be this act of doing, and what we think is if I learn all the things, the doing will be easier, and that's never the way it goes.
Welcome to the Think Media podcast. My name is Heather Torres, the host of this show, and we are here to help you build your influence on YouTube and then turn that influence into a high impact and a high profit online business. And today you are in for a treat. We have none other than my friend Jennifer Allwood. Jen's going to be walking through so much about how to build your impact and your income with your online business, especially in the world that we're in right now. There's no better time to be making income online. But first, if you're new to this show, we want to welcome you and say thank you for being a part of what we're doing here at Think Media. If you've not yet watched our free YouTube class, that would be your next step after today's episode. You can go to thinkmasterclass.com because this episode is brought to you by our free YouTube class. This is where you can learn some of the success secrets to YouTube, how to get started and how to scale your YouTube channel, and some of the mistakes that YouTubers are making right now that are hindering their growth. We want to make sure you've got all that information, and make sure you take our free class at thinkmasterclass.com. All right, well, today we are going into how to create multiple streams of income, or how to make extra cash on the side with your full-time job. If you are someone who has been trying to figure out how to crack the code, like how do I actually get started? What are some ways that people are making money online, and how can I do it too? Jennifer Allwood is your girl. She's a Midwestern entrepreneur. She's a podcaster, author, speaker, and Jennifer teaches women how to build their businesses online. And that's key for this episode because her past is an offline business that she was able to bring online. Jennifer helps create business owners reaching 6 figures, 7 figures, and beyond. And she's grown her platform on social media with over 500,000 followers. So lean into today's episode and let's get started.
Thirsty hair? Meet Aussie. It's giving moisture with a capital M, made for every type and texture, so you can drench curls, make waves, and turn up the volume. Moisture made for everyone. Get Aussie. Awesome hair for everyone.
The hardworking weed killer that's safe for use around people and pets, and backed by Good Housekeeping.
Well, Jen, I'm excited to finally have you on the podcast. Thank you so much for making time for us here at Think Media.
Heather, I will always make time for you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited.
Well, Think Media, I love to bring experts to you that have a wealth of knowledge and a depth in one area. And today we're going to be talking about multiple streams of income. I've brought my friend Jen, who I've actually seen her business grow over the past several years from helping mostly women in this area. And Jen, I'm excited to really break this down for our community because as content creators, we want to be creating these multiple streams of income. And it's important that especially content creators creators and people that are starting their YouTube channels, that they're putting on those business hats, right? And that they're understanding that there is a world of income available to them in the online space specifically, and that's what you teach. But I'd love to take it back to the beginning. How did you even get started in building online specific income streams in your life?
Sure. So I actually, and by the way, thank you again, Heather, so much for having me and trusting me with your audience. I'm excited to be here. So I actually started a business back in the year 2000. My degree is in computer-based information systems, which was totally a lame selection, I will just say that, of degrees, only because, not because it's not a good thing to choose, but I hate computers. But in my head, I was like, I want to pick something that I make a lot of money at, not because I had, this greedy heart, but because I know that if I make more, I can impact more. If I make more, I can give more. I can hire more people. All the things, I innately knew that. So I picked computers back in the year 2000 when I was finishing my degree as a grown-up. And right after that, started a decorative painting company in Kansas City, which you're way too young to know what faux finishing and decorative painting is. But we were on like the Extreme Home Makeover show with Ty Pennington. Do you remember that show, Heather? The Move the Bus show?
Obsessed with Ty Pennington back in the day, yes.
Done that 3 times, been in countless magazines, flown to Belize with my husband to look at a painting project there. My painting business was phenomenal, but we had gotten to a point where I knew I was capped on how much revenue I could make. And I can remember having a service-based company locally in Kansas City where we live, me looking at my checkbook going, I'm working way too stinking hard. Like, there should be more money there. And again, not from a place of greed, just from a like, Lord, why is everything feeling off balance? And so it was in the year 2017. I was at a job site. I had 8 women out painting for me. Everything looked like we were on top of the world, where I thought to myself, there has to be a better way. And in my head, the only thing I could think of is, how can I teach people how to do online what I'm doing locally? And so I didn't really know what I was doing, Heather. And a lot of entrepreneurs, they delay because they don't know what they're doing. But a lot of times when I don't know what to do, I kind of tend to run in there anyway, because I'm like, you know what do I have to lose? No, I don't know what I do, but I bet that I'll figure some things out as I go. So I started with some like DIY painting videos, and I was not on YouTube, by the way. I was doing horrible videos with my 12-year-old son, Noah, videotaping me on a client's driveway, painting their garage doors. It was the worst, awfulest video of all time. We made like $10,000 in this video in a nanosecond. And I was like, wait a second. And we made $100,000 on really bad DIY videos back in 2017 in the first 14 months. And that's when I was hooked to the online space. And it occurred to me, okay, people buy a DIY video. What else will they buy from me? So then I did a webinar. And that was when a lot of people were doing free webinars. And I was like, yeah, I don't really want to do free. I give away free stuff all the time. I give away free advice. I give free away stuff on social media. I have opt-ins. Like, I don't want to do free. So I did, a $47 webinar, made $40,000, for one night's work. And I was like, okay, this is amazing. What else could I do? So then I released a course, which I still have, that we release twice a year. Then a paid membership. That is what Forbes has done an article on me about it. Hit $1 million a year revenue stream for me 4 years ago for a $47 a month membership. So I pivoted out of the service-based painting industry, out of that creative business that I loved, into coaching and teaching other people how to use social media to make money in the online space. And as you've alluded to, there's just so many different ways of making money online. So I like to teach about my favorite 8. And so we closed down the painting company in the year 2017, and here we are. So.
Okay, a few different takeaways, Think Media, that I want you to write down right now, because this is a conversation you need to be leaning into, because Jen's going to bring some fire when it comes to the exact revenue streams you should be doing. But here's a couple things you said, Jen. You didn't overthink it. And man, isn't that just something that we tend to do way too often? Like, should I do this or should I do that? Should I do this? Should I do that? And then you wait a year and you haven't done anything yet.
Well, but here's why people do it, Heather, because I think that it's important to recognize that we do it, but then we got to figure out, well, why do I do it? And the reason we do it is because we're afraid of, if I pick this and I'm wrong, that's going to hurt and be painful and costly. If I pick this and I'm wrong, well, that could be painful and hurtful and costly. And a lot of times what I've noticed also is that women who have gone through a lot of traumatic experiences in their life will think to themselves, okay, I'll do anything to avoid more pain. So I will innately just kind of stay with, what I'm doing as a way to self-protect rather than pick either. And we'll try to hedge our bets and think, okay, if I can think of every single thing that could possibly go wrong or right with a course, okay, and then let me think of every single thing that could possibly go wrong or right with, a membership. And then let me weigh it out and let me do a, pros and cons list. And then if I have all of the information, I'll be able to pick the right thing that won't fail. And the truth is there's just no, there's no litmus test for that. There literally is no guarantee. There is no way of knowing. And we think if I just learn a little more, I'm going to say something that is probably really bad to say considering I'm a business coach and I teach people, with courses and things every day, but we have an epidemic of people just wanting to learn more and not actually do things. And that I love Jesus, and so the Bible even talks about faith without works is dead. There's got to be a doing. When we get to heaven, we want to hear, well done, good and faithful servant, not well intentions on that thing. You know what I'm saying? And so there has to be this act of doing. And what we think is if I learn all the things, the doing will be easier. And that's never the way it goes. Every time we launch something, and we've been launching courses, Heather, and, we have $1 million course launch every year. We have $1 million membership, every year. So we've been doing this for a hot minute. There's still things that go sideways, things that we learn, things that we wish she had figured out beforehand, things there was no way of seeing. And so I think people think if I just figure out all the things first, I'll get it all right. And that's literally not true. When I think about, you and I both have a lot of kids. How many kids do we have between the two of us? We have a whole gang.
We definitely got a football team because you've got 4 and I have 3. So we are basketball.
You know what? I was thinking you had 4. Maybe you'll have another.
Come on, Jen, I'm here for it. I've got the baby fever. So,
the thing is when we had children, there was no part of me that ever looked at my son Noah. It was I cannot believe he does not know how to walk when he's trying to learn to walk. I can't believe he doesn't just know how to do this and doesn't fall down the first time he does it. The way that you learn is to stumble, kind of muddle your way through things. And then all of a sudden you're okay, this isn't bad, and then you've got it. The same thing happens in business. We expect so much out of ourselves. I should know how to launch this thing. I should know how to do all the videos. I should know. But the way that you literally learn so often is by going through it. And I know you've got a lot of creative brains here. Same, total creative background, very chaotic, creative, also menopausal mind. Let me just say that. So there's a lot of chaos in here. And so literally, I have to actually do in order to learn. And I think a lot of creative people are wired in that same way, but they think if I just know more before I try it, I'll do better. And you're actually going to do so much better to just try it and learn as you go. That was a lot of words. Man, that was a lot of words.
That was so incredible. And, you touched on the part that, man, I just wish there was more freedom for people because we go into things thinking, what if this fails? We've been programmed to just always think, well, what if this fails? And I want to shift that mindset, especially for You Think Media. What if this succeeds? What are the possibilities on the other side of just taking massive imperfect action? And that's the second thing I want to touch on that you said is that it was not perfect. It was janky videos, no microphone, no lighting, no professional. This is not the cute studio space that you have at this very moment. It was, and your child was filming you. And
can I give you just a few more details about that video because it was so bad, Heather. So I live in Kansas City. Do you guys have cicadas where you live? Anybody that's from the Midwest will know what a cicada is.
Oh, are those buzzy things?
Yes, and they scream in the summer. Okay, so it was in the summer. We were getting ready to take our family vacation, and so I thought to myself, I'm really pale. We are pale people in my family. Let me go get a spray tan. The day that I decide my 12-year-old Noah was going to film a video for me. So I just want you to imagine, I'm painting garage doors to look like wood. There was no this. It was a camera on a very bad tripod that I probably, got at Target or something. And my 12-year-old's, filming me on the camera. The cicadas are screaming because the house was a new construction right next to a field. It's the middle of summer in Kansas City. So that we've got all this background noise and I am orange. from a spray tan. I mean, just orange from the spray tan. So I'm orange, there's bad noise. It's 10 minutes long. I kid you not, 10 minutes long. And we made $10,000 on that video because what was important, you know, the aesthetics came later. We figured out later how to get things to be better. But what was important in the beginning was getting it out there. And there was meat and potatoes in that content. I mean, I could teach a lot in 10 minutes. And so people kept coming back for more, not because I had it all fancy in the beginning, because they were actually getting something out of it. And then later we're like, okay, we really got to up our game a little bit. But, you know, and so when we knew better, we did better. But in the beginning, I just needed to get it out the door. And, you know, I heard on a podcast one time, I don't know who to credit this line to, but she said, you've got to get so okay with doing B- work. We think we've got to put out A+ work all the time. And you've got to be okay with getting B- work out the door just to get it out the door. Because there's something that happens, Heather, when you start the ball rolling, when you actually get a little bit of momentum and you actually figure a few things out, you walk a little different, you act a little different, because it's in that not knowing and that spiraling in the beginning of, well, I want to do a video, but I don't know how to do the video. And if I only knew how to do the video, then I could launch the video. That will lead you to like so much of an unsettled place internally that if you'll just start and be okay with it not being perfect, you would be amazed, A, the results that you can help other people get, B, how you will actually possibly enjoy the process, you know, even if it's not perfect, and C, it can really lead you to like having all these aha moments of, well, maybe I don't want to do videos anyway. Maybe I'd really rather just do a course and do it live. I mean, it's interesting that as you're doing the work and getting it out there, you will figure out what you like, what you don't like, what's good enough, what do you no longer have to worry about, but you have to actually start.
Man, I hope you are getting value out of this already, because I already am. I'm taking notes as we're doing this, Jen. And I want to pivot a little bit because, I mean, there's no avoiding where we are heading in terms of financially inside of this country and really the world. And I also say that with the expectation of the amount of possibilities that we are heading into
100%.
Into this world, and especially in the online space, which is where you are truly an expert at, Jen. And so I want to really talk around, you know, how would someone even get started? Let's say they've started their YouTube channel already. They're making some videos. They're in. They know what niche they're in, right? They know who they're serving. They know. You know, the types of free videos that they want to be making. How does someone then pivot into starting to make money with this beyond just AdSense and affiliate marketing? What are just some of the things that you teach your community of getting started with this online space that really allows for freedom to happen, that we'll talk about in just a little bit?
So I do teach on 8 different ways of making money. And like you said, affiliate income is one, sponsored content is one, courses is so good for people that like a short burst of things and they don't want to have commitment for a long period of time. With a membership group, a paid membership group, which I have, there is a commitment. I've had my membership group for 6.5 years. And if you're not someone who likes that sort of stability and, you know, expectations of you every single week, I wouldn't suggest that. But there's also consulting. So I think it's number one, figuring out what is a good fit for you. What is also the lowest hanging fruit that would be a good fit for you? Because what you need in the beginning is you need a win. You just need a win. And it's scary when you go from free to now I'm going to charge. And there's a couple different things. So I have a book called Fear is Not the Boss of You. If you happen to have read it, you'll remember this story. When I first decided to start charging people in the online space, I told a friend of mine and she was like, well, is anybody going to buy from you? Because haven't you been giving them free information this whole time? And I was like, oh my gosh, she's right. I mean, I'm such an idiot. This is stupid. I'm stupid. The whole thing's stupid. You know, maybe I should just pause, forgetting that A, she's not online at all. B, she has no idea about what's possible in the online space, at least back then. C, there are certain people that you can't tell your dreams to because they're dream crushers, simply because they're stuck. They don't know what options they have. They think they're trying to protect you. There's a whole lot there. So anyway, in the beginning, I was like, will anybody actually buy this? I don't know. I have been giving stuff away for so long. But what people actually will pay you for is they will pay you for having something organized. Because the truth is, a lot of the things that I teach, like in my courses, you could find everywhere on the internet, Heather. You could find, Jen did a podcast on that once. This was in her book. This is in, on YouTube over here. She did a Instagram reel over here, and you could kind of put it together. But people will pay for things to be in a chronological order, for it to be organized well, for there to be a leader, for them to have access to you, etc. So figure out the vehicle that you want to put the paid thing in. Is it going to be a course, a group, all the things? You know that I have a quiz for your audience that I can tell them about whenever you want me to, but that will be helpful. And then the truth is you've got to get okay with actually charging money for something. And, there's a lot of scriptures that will defend that. Like, a man is worth his wages, and a man that does not take care of his family is worse than a heathen. And so, and that can be man or woman, by the way. And so, we all have families to feed or ourselves to feed. It is a mindset shift that has to happen to go from free to paid. And the truth of the matter is, if you don't get okay with, like, I'm going to actually charge for this, I may not know all the things, but I know a few things, and I know a few things more than the people who are coming up behind me, and it's worth them paying me for those things, by the way. And so if you don't get really comfortable with that, your audience can smell it a mile away. They literally can. And so you've got to be okay going, you know what? I've given you guys so much value. If you love this, listen to this course that I'm launching on Monday, or I would love to invite you into my paid group, or I would love to get you signed up for a one-on-one consultation with me. Here's my Candly link where you can go sign up. But you've got to get okay with actually charging before your audience is ever going to be okay with it.
You could win $50,000 and turn work mode off and summer mode on. Scan the Ritz Sunkissed pack for a chance to win $50K.
Okay with it. So.
Wow, so many golden nuggets there. And I want to let you guys know, the Think Media community, that we actually partnered with a course creating company, and I did an entire series of how to launch your course in a weekend. So it's online, but here's the thing. It is nowhere near in depth of what Jen teaches. So if you just want the beginnings of, like, how to name your course and where to host your course, I can help you with that. Jen goes so deep in being able to tell you the exact step-by-step process of what she's done and 7 other ways, right, of how to actually be creating it. Jen, I'd love for you to tell the community now about this personality test, because with 8 different ways. So first off, I had 2 emotions with that. I was like, 8 ways? Yes. And then I was like, 8 ways? Oh gosh, which one do I choose? So how do they choose, and what does that look like?
Well, so you choose based on, and it's at jenniferallwood.com/quiz, just my name /quiz. It's super easy. And if you have time to be on Facebook and take one of those, which Disney princess am I most like quizzes, then you definitely have time to go take this one. It's fast, and it's going to ask you questions like, are you good at taking photos or not? Are you good at writing, or are you good at speaking? Do you like commitment, or do you like to fly by the seat of your pants? Are you an introvert or an extrovert? Like, all of those things kind of go into what would be the best thing for you to launch first. Because if you're someone that needs an influx of cash really fast, let's just say that, and you want to be kind of one and done, and you don't love commitment, then do a course. If you're like, no, I really need the steady reliability of knowing how much money my company is going to bring in every single month, so I don't have to worry about it, then I would shift you to a membership. Like, there's so many things like that. I'll have people come to me and they're like, I think I should start a blog. And I'm like, why? Well, I heard you can make a lot of money with a blog. Okay, I beg to differ. And I hate to, like, discourage people, but if you need cash, I would never suggest you start with a blog today. Why? Because in order to make money off a blog, you have to have traffic. And if you haven't started your social medias and you haven't started your blog, where are you going to get the traffic from? People don't magically find you. So, like, there's a lot of questions like that that will lead you into what is your lowest hanging fruit? What could you launch the quickest based on what your personality is and what you already have, and start there. It's just a good place to start. What people do, Heather, is they, I say these words all the time, you can tell my age, they fiddle fart around, they dick-jack around, and they're like, I don't know, should I do this or this? And then 6 months go by. I'm thinking this, but I don't know, maybe that. And then another year goes by. And then we've missed the window. I literally did a podcast episode one time called Don't Miss the Window, because I felt like so impressed upon me by the Lord. Like, there is an open heaven over online businesses right now. And so if you will just get in the game, like people are staring at their phones more than ever. The pandemic was, so horrible in so many ways and, was awful for a lot of small business owners with brick and mortars, but it was fabulous for people who are in the online space, selling education, selling entertainment, selling art classes, selling whatever. It was so good for people that had a way of making money in the online space. And so, based on where our economy currently is, you kind of, said something about that, like get in the game today. Pick one. And there's very few things on the side of heaven that are permanent decisions. Deciding that you're going to launch a course is not one of them. So you launch the course, you hate it. You're like, I'm a knucklehead. Jen was an idiot for telling me this. I hated every second of that. That's okay. Now you know what you don't want to do again, but at least now you've tried that thing and it will lead you to the thing that you actually should be doing.
Yes. Oh man, I'm fired up. I'm going to say that after every time. Someone's going to comment in the comments, actually. They're going to be like, does Heather only say she's fired up? Yes, I do, because I get so passionate, especially around powerful women who are speaking truth and light. And one of the reasons, Jen, that you teach 8 different ways is because you should have some diversification. I know that there's definitely 2 camps. Right? There's the go all in on one thing, put all your eggs in one basket. I am not of that camp. I am of the camp of building multiple streams. And actually at Think Media, we did a podcast of 21 revenue streams that we're a part of that are diversifying our entire income into the overall business that we've built. Because if it's 3 legs on a stool and one leg goes out, you could topple over. And especially as we learned a few years ago, it could all be taken away like that. Your actual income could be taken away. So can you talk to our audience a little bit about why they should be diversifying and building 8+ different revenue streams in their business and life, actually?
Okay, so number one, it's biblical. So in the Bible, Ecclesiastes 11:2 talks about 7, yes, even 8 ways of bringing money into the storehouse. So it's biblical. Number 2, it's Googleable. So if you Google how many...
If it's not biblical, it's Googleable. I love that.
Google and the Bible meet up. I'm like, hallelujah. So, if you go to Google and say, how many revenue streams does the average millionaire have? It's, I think, 7. And we have 8 and I teach 8. Okay, so here's what happens though sometimes, Heather, is people will be like, I got to get all 8 at once. No, actually go here, get good at this one. And then when you get good at that one, you figure it out and you're making enough money that you have people to help you. You have the time, the capacity, then you add the next one, then you add the next one, then you add the next one. And so I had my Facebook page shut down a few years ago. I don't think I knew you then, did I? Oh man, did I have to learn a hard lesson that week. So I'm literally just, it was back when I still had the painting company, so it would have been at least 5 years ago. And one of my friends is like, why can't I find your Facebook page? And I'm like, I don't know. Now I have a really, substantial sized Facebook page. I have 370,000 followers on Facebook. I've been verified for years. And so when my Facebook page went sideways, I'm like, this is going to be a problem. I don't know what I did wrong. Still am not certain what I did wrong. But basically just 3 days later, it magically reappeared. Okay, so that was fabulous. But what those 3 days taught me is, Jennifer, don't ever put all of your eggs in any one basket. Not one social media and not one way of making money. So that's when I really started realizing, okay, the power of a strong email list, the power of 2 social media, so that if one goes sideways and you make a oops here, that you have another one to fall back on. The same thing happens though with revenue streams. So I know so many people who have gone all in with, affiliate marketing or network marketing with a particular company. That company folds, that company goes sideways, and then they're left with no business at all. They're left with no revenue overnight, and then you're in trouble. And so I'm not anti-affiliate marketing. I do affiliate marketing. I'm not anti-network marketing. I've done that before. I am anti putting all of your eggs in one basket, because I think one of the things is freedom is super important to me, and for a lot of reasons. And so financial freedom is part of that. And I think it's wisdom that whatever God has given you to steward on this side of heaven, that you protect it almost and insulate it almost with other revenue streams. So, the other thing, Heather, is like, I'm getting a little older. I'm much, much older than you, honey. So I just turned 51 last week. And as a woman who's getting older, I don't want to have to be doing things because I have to be doing things in another 15, 20 years. Do you know what I mean? I've got to put some revenue streams in place now that are not dependent on Jennifer being forward facing. They're not dependent on, my team having to have me to show up in order for those to happen. So we've got, like, I own a VA service, for instance, and I have talked about that. Those sorts of things. It's another revenue stream that's not completely dependent upon me, that would also be very sellable down the road. And so it's wisdom just to have money coming in more than one way, just like it is to, like, invest your money, in more than one way, some in real estate, some in the stock market, some in the bank, it's wisdom. And so start with what's going to be the lowest hanging fruit, where you're going to get some results. And then as you figure things out, start adding other revenue streams on top of that.
Yeah, and you touched on it a little bit there, and I want to go just a little bit deeper, because for me, this was why I started building the way I built, meaning the reason I went the online space versus, like, should I do brick and mortar? Should I do, should I have a business that requires me to actually be somewhere? I saw the vision of what the online space could do, and I'm just incredibly grateful for that. I know that that's when you made that pivot from your painting company, where you had to physically be there in Kansas City and actually do client after client after client, shifting into that online space. I just want people to understand, when we say freedom, we're not talking like we're riding in private jets and sipping lattes. Like, it's freedom because of things that have happened in your life, where luckily, because you had those residual income streams, you've been able to consistently have revenue in your business and into your family while those things are happening. Would you mind sharing just maybe?
I would love to.
Because I think this is a big piece for people of even understanding why shifting online is so critical, especially in what's to come in the future.
So one of the things that I realized when I was operating my painting company is, number one, I told you, like, I knew I had capped our income. And by the way, it was multi six figures a year with me working outside of the home, like 10 to 15 hours a week, because I had a team of women that worked for me. So it probably looked ludicrous to the world for me to shut that down. And I did the coaching in that for a while, but it eventually became so obvious to me that there is so much more opportunity for growth over here than what there is over here. A couple of little things happened. Number one, it became obvious to me, okay, wait a second, I got called for jury duty. While I have to go to jury duty, oh my gosh, how am I going to make money? Like, in the painting company, because I'm like, if I can't physically be there, or have the girls there working, then we're not making money, and then I've got aging parents. Okay, what if I need to stay home with aging parents? Like, how are we going to make money if I'm not physically working? And as a creative, a creator or maker that had to work with my hands, or have other women doing it for me, like, I had to almost be present in order for that to keep going. So it became obvious to me, like, that is not what I want to do long term. I don't want to be tied down to not being able to travel. I don't want to have set hours a day. I think that there's something interesting, Heather, about people that are really wired for entrepreneurship. A lot of us, we just don't like the norms or rules. It's like that movie Divergent. Do you remember that? I love that movie so much. We just watched it again when we were, we have a second home in Florida. So we were at our second home in Florida this week, and the kids and I were watching. It's like we don't fit into a box.
Yeah.
And so if you really want to have freedom, you're going to have to position your business in the freest place on the planet, which is going to be in the online space. And even if you're like, oh, but I don't like social media. Oh, but I don't like whatever. Well, you're going to have to figure out which would you rather have. Because if you really want the freedom that being an entrepreneur in the online space can provide for you, both financially and in your time, then you're going to have to just decide, well, how can you then build something in the online space and either get help for it or what have you. But I knew that we wanted to travel. I knew that we wanted to do things like adopt a child, which, by the way, is not free. I knew that we wanted to be able to have the option for our children to go to different schools if we wanted to. All of that was going to require funds. We wanted to be able to support ministries that we love, et cetera. And so, I think you get to a point where you're like, am I super just uncomfortable with where I currently am? Because sometimes you get to a point of just, you're so uncomfortable that then you're willing to make this shift. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't there. I was more in the point that I was like, this is really beginning to be a drag over here. And I just see incredible opportunity over here in the online space. So again, that was back in 2017. What I've noticed that people, though, are doing today is this is how they protect themselves from doing big, hard, and scary things. Oh, the market's saturated. There's so many people already doing it. What could I add new to the conversation, et cetera, et cetera? And I'm going to tell you, because I love you, it's such a lie from the pit of hell, because that is how it's easier to say the market is saturated than to go in and try to launch a course or offer consulting or get paid to do social media, have ads on your website, whatever, that all feels super vulnerable. And so, doing something you've never done will always require a level of vulnerability that you probably don't want to volunteer for. But the truth of the matter is you're going to have to. And on the other side of being vulnerable is the opportunity to take your business to whatever level that you want for it to. We went from a $500,000 a year business to a $2 million business in like a 10-day period 5 years ago. And I still, it changed our whole life. We were able then for my husband to quit corporate America. We adopted a little girl. We've, remodeled this home. We bought another home. We bought a home for his parents. When you are willing to be okay, I don't know what I'm doing. This feels very awkward, feels a little bit like I'm standing on the internet naked. We're going to go for it anyway. When you're willing to do that, it is amazing. The doors that will open up and the opportunities that you will be able to rise to the occasion for, which can change your whole life and the whole trajectory of your family. And it's never just about us. Can I just say one more thing?
You can.
There's so many people that are like, oh, I'm so afraid to grow my business. Okay, but what about that girl that's sitting at home right now that she needs a part-time job that you could offer to her if you would just have the guts to start building that business that God has given you the idea for, but you're sucking your thumb in a corner because it's scary. Listen, we're all scared. So get in the game, do it scared, do it with your thumb in your mouth if you need to. There are so many wonderful people like you, Heather, like me, who will link arms with people and do the ride with them. But there's just in 2022, you have got to have a way of making money that is not requiring a physical location, in my opinion. Number two, that's not dependent on you getting a check from someone else. That is false security. We think, oh, it's so much safer to work for an organization. No, it's not. I've been laid off. My husband's been laid off. So that is false security. Bet on yourself. Bet on yourself every single day of the week. There is so much opportunity in the online space. There's so much room here. And so whatever gifts that God has given you, figure out how to monetize them, get in the online space, get on social media, start putting things up for sale, bada boom, bada bing.
This conversation has been, again, I'm on fire. I hope that you are encouraged, Think Media. I want you to take the quiz. If your next phase, what should you do next? You should take the quiz to figure out your revenue streams. You should figure out what the next thing you should do. And then I want to make a challenge to you. Get it up, get it going, get it moving, and
doesn't have to be perfect.
Messy, right? You've got to just start messy, and it's never going to look the way you want it to look. It's never going to sound the way you want it to sound. I remember when we launched our first course here at Think Media, we were just talking about it today on an all-team meeting. We said, guys, what you see now is not where it started. It was jankety on some slide decks. We put it out there, and then we revised it, and we revised it, and we revised it. And we added another revenue stream. We added a thing. You've got to just start messy. And so I want to encourage you to take that quiz. I'll link it down below. Any resources that we talked about in this, I'll link Jen's book down below. Make sure you get a copy of that. Such an incredible book. And then I'll link down below the course walkthrough of how to get your first course started in a weekend, if that's the route for you. But I want you to just take this conversation and run with it. Really figure out how you can break free, how you can get freedom by joining this online space, by joining this place where you can find the right people for you. Think Media. I know you're creating content on your YouTube channel, but did you know there's an entire world out there beyond YouTube? That's where I want you to go next. So Jen, thank you so much for this fruitful conversation. Thank you for doing the hard work, stepping out of what looked like a very fruitful season into a space where you were able to go even bigger. And I just know that there's going to be so many blessings on you and your business. And I just can't wait to see. I'm so glad we've linked arms and I get to be along the ride to see what you're doing over in the Jen Allwood world. So thank you for being a part of it,
Heather. Yes, thank you so much for having me. Appreciate you.
When you're in Navy medicine, you see more than numbers on a chart. Behind every checkup, every set of vitals is a service member who needs you. A pilot preparing for takeoff, a submariner diving beneath the waves. Here, medicine makes the mission. Navy medicine lets you focus on patients who protect us all, while we focus on administrative hassles and even reimburse your medical school loans. Start your mission at Navy.com/medicine. America's Navy, forged by the sea.
Journal is full after that episode with Jennifer Allwood, and I am so grateful that she brought her knowledge and everything here to the podcast. If you want to go deeper, we'll make sure that all the links and the link to her book are down below in the description box or in the show notes of this episode. Her book is fabulous, and I highly recommend that you get it, you highlight it, and you give it to a friend as well. Well, every single week, we love to be able to see our community come to life here on the show, and that's through where you rate and review over on Apple Podcasts. We, did you know, have international listeners, and so this week is dedicated to our international friends and family of Think Media. Today's review comes from T-Dog101578. T-Dog says, always on point. Sean and his team at Think Marketing, which is Think Media now, are always on point, leading the way for creators to stay on top of their game with new tips and strategies to keep crushing it on YouTube and other social media platforms. I like that the Sean-isms of crushing it is on there as well. And your latest episode on tips from the Bible is amazing. Thanks for stepping out and sharing stories from your life and sharing the words on your platform. I too am a Christian and have recently come out of a long on and off struggle with alcohol. You've inspired me to stay the course. Love you all and appreciate the work that you do. Well, T-Dog, we want to just first congratulate you for taking that step to freedom, and we're so grateful that we get to be a part of that journey with you. Stay connected with us here at Think Media, and your future will be bright. Well, thank you so much for being a part of what we're doing here on this show, and we'd love for you to rate and review this show and leave a comment down below on YouTube. And if you know someone who needs to be creating multiple streams of income, maybe it's your sister, maybe it's your best friend, maybe it's your friend at work who has that idea but hasn't taken the step to do it, I'm going to encourage you to share this episode with them. This content can change lives, and it only happens if you share it out. So thank you so much for doing that for us, and we'll catch you in the next episode. Bye.
At Granger, we're for the ones who pay attention to every little detail. The ones who fuss, tinker, and sweat the small stuff. Because you know the tiniest thing can make the biggest difference when it comes to keeping business moving. We get it. We're the same way. Offering access to product experts to help you quickly and easily find what you need. So whatever your industry, you know you're always getting professional grade products. Call, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.